Should we do that before the well, I guess it doesn't.
Well, we just won't state any minutes.
I don't have it.
Okay,
Accept them and not accept them, that's all.
okay. Well, welcome to the October 30th Budget Committee meeting. And
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the minute from the, I'm losing it,
Non-public.
non-public session.
I second that.
we have a motion to accept the minutes from the non-public session of October 23rd and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the minutes of the October 23rd meeting as written.
I have just something to add to it. Mr. Pyra and myself were just not added to the in attendance on that one.
Oh, okay.
It was noted in the
Okay.
other that when
Yeah.
we showed up, so.
Jim, would you like to amend?
Yes, I'll amend my motion to accept the meetings as the notes, of October 23rd, 2013, as amended.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the minutes of October 23rd, 2013, as amended to add Eric and John's name to the attendance. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay, so the next thing we have is we've got Lakes Region Planning and Association for the Blind. It should be a few minutes from now showing up.
Good. Mr. Chairman, from the New Hampshire Association for Blind, I believe is first, they're requesting $1,500. Is that a change from last year, or is it the same amount?
Exactly the same.
Should put here, Association for the Blind. And I think that would be about the same from previous years.
It is.
Going back.
I have a question. Can I be on this? Can I talk as a member of the public?
Okay.
You can,
But you don't think I
well, you can ask to be recognized, and I can
I
recognize
have to
you.
say as a member of the public?
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Thank you, ma'am.
pretty much, I don't know if we're going, well, we could vote on it tonight, too.
Okay.
If people felt comfortable.
As I see from our document, it is the same amount.
Yeah, and that dates back 2012 as well.
Yeah, they've not asked for an increase at all.
Okay.
Hi, Catherine Dawson.
Howdy.
How are you?
I am good.
Maybe some of the selectmen can tell us what kind of projects Lakes Region Planning's been working on with us in the past year.
Sandy, well, I was on they do a lot of studies which help us. I was on a corridor study for Route 140, because that's the next, what do we widen, what do we improve, flow of traffic, getting them out of here, getting people here. It was pretty informative. They are mitigating the intersection of Silver Lake Road and Route 3 with New Hampshire DOT. They're helping with that. So we can improve the intersection there. And Sandy was just,
Right now, one is what we can do with Route 3 between here and Plains to make it safer. We're looking into ways that we might be able to cut down the traffic by encouraging carpooling and using bus services to be able to get the areas. Anyway, we just finished up that. We're getting the draft of the finished work probably this coming week. I'm also on the committee for the hazard. When we have a program already that was written by Lakes Region Planning that gets updated every couple of years. And it's like we have flooding or a severe storm, tornado, whatever it might be. It's a mitigation plan that we put into place, and it's involved several people in the area, where you would have shelters. How do you get food and water to people that might be cut off in part of the town? How do you get them out? Say if they're in a flooded area, or, we have a few areas like that in town that can flood. Or maybe it would be some kind of terrorist activity. But this is a plan that is put together on how to follow, and who's in charge and who goes where at the first sign of the problem. So we're in the process of working on that. The Lakes Region Planning has always been an excellent source of board and the zoning board, and I'm sure that the Conservation Commission has used them.
Sure.
They do a lot to help the town.
And their website is just
Their
a
website.
wealth of information,
Yes.
in case you need to know anything, demographics or anything else. And it's kept fairly updated.
They worked closely with us also in the EPA grant that we received on
Ernie's,
I would say that every penny that we might ask for, they do a lot of work, and we get to enjoy the results of it.
They did the preliminary, they helped with the preliminary data that we needed for the grant, which was extensive.
Yes.
Extensive.
Now, do they work on matching federal grant money? I mean, we give them so much money, and then they go out searching for grant money to incorporate the grant money at either 2-to-1 or whatever the ratio is, both at the federal and state level, correct?
Mostly federal grant monies they'll get, and then they reach out to the communities for, projects that we might need, and usually they're pretty aware of what their member communities are doing, so they would even contact us and say, hey, we just got a federal grant for. They are, it's like I just got a map, it's a survey of our wetland areas in town. Didn't cost me anything, I just called them up and said, hey, do you have? Yes, we do. There it was the next day in the office.
They also make their services available, and last year they attempted to make themselves available to our downtown merchants. I don't think anyone did it at all. But I visited the downtown merchants and encouraged them to go and meet with them, but no one seemed to be interested. But they have quite an extensive program that would be helpful to our merchants.
They're also responsible when we did the tri-state area, on the aquifers in the area. They were right there with us, they federal grants for that, and that was an extensive, I would say, it took us a couple of years, but we now have our best practices, really come along with it for us, helping the planning board know what's going on and where it is, and now we have an aquifers map downstairs, and so they're quite helpful, they really are.
one question I had, I know for a few years we were talking about was impact fees.
Those are gone. The legislature
Yes, they were.
was very clever in
know-
how they put the kibosh to that.
'Cause I know Lakes Region Planning was working with us to try and figure out
Yes.
that.
Took too long.
Hey, Jen?
Unfortunately, things changed at the State House, like Catherine was saying, so they've taken all the teeth, anything that was worthwhile about having impact fees, and they kind of destroyed it with the way they changed the law.
We basically had nothing that would fit into it, and we spent a lot of time, but this wasn't feasible.
They have helped us with other things, and I know there's times we'll call them up and say, we're wrestling with this, trying to figure out what would be the best way, and they will systematically work with you. So they've always been an excellent source of results.
Yeah, I'm looking at last year when they met with us. That was the year that the Brownsfield grant was received for the Ernie's property, which was only 2 that were given out in New Hampshire.
The other was Franklin.
Yes,
Do we plan on talking to them? Do they plan on coming?
they're coming tonight,
Yeah.
Because that would be the question I would have for them, you know, I checked their website and I saw a study for this and a study for that, and from what you're saying is, they're helpful on this and helpful on that, and my question to them, I'm going to ask them, but it might be better to ask you guys without them here, is what practical, useful thing did they do for us last year, and what practical, useful thing do they plan on doing for us next year?
They got us
You know,
the
like-
monies for the Ernie project.
They did.
They did.
But that was
Without
previ-
Lakes Region Planning, we probably would not have gotten those grants.
That was the
because
previous year, though.
They worked on them.
That was the previous year. No, that was 2012, so.
Well, yeah, but that's when they worked on it. We didn't get the monies until last year.
Right.
Actually,
Right.
yeah, or I was thinking it was this spring.
You know, and that's
It
what I
was
mean
last
is, you know,
year.
I checked their website, and it's like, yeah, a lot of useful information, but what did that information get us?
200 and...
You know, like, did they find in their water study that the,
Did you just hear her?
what's that?
In the gas station.
$20,000 grant
Yeah.
to clean up that.
Well,
And to go a little bit further,
if I can interrupt on that, because that's what they said that they got last year for us. That was given to us, Brownfield was reserved.
it was last year.
Yes. I have the minutes from the meeting from November 2012, so that was previous year that they had
That's
gotten,
when they
right?
started working on
Right.
it, but it didn't happen.
2000
The grant wasn't awarded until May of 2012,
Yeah.
or June. It was May or June of last year.
Oh, okay. Of 12.
Because remember, we didn't get to tear the building down in December, like we wanted to.
And then we started betting on whether it was going to...
It was going to fall down, and it did.
If it wasn't for the tree.
But in continuation of
Yeah.
that, they work very, very closely with the Crederi Associates, the people that are the consultants that we hired. And when they came across the gasoline, oil, petroleum
Right.
leakage there, they immediately went to resources to help us with state funds and federal funds to help eradicate that so it wouldn't go against our
And
$220,000.
this
So
was-
thousands, it was what, more than $10,000 in that they helped in doing that. So it's an ongoing thing that if we picked up the phone and they said help, and they would be right there.
And that's why as a town, our percentage of their budget is pretty small. I mean,
Yes, it is.
$3,000 out of a $780,000 budget, but my concern is,
They're worth
and
every penny.
yeah, and that's the question I have, is what practical thing does the town get for it? And not just as a town, but as a state and as a citizen of the United States. You know, most of it's coming from the federal government. I just want to make sure it's not just a bureaucratic thing, a think tank where
Not at all.
When we go,
this committee to set up this committee to research that and this. and-
when we're ready to engineer and do something about the island so we don't lose it, we'll probably contact Lakes Region Planning and get them on board with it, because we'll be looking for some of those grants.
Are there any current projects that they're working on for the town?
Sandy just,
Current
Just the
projects.
earnings.
Just the two things that I'm...
There's the Route 3, so there's Route 3 that they're working on.
Right now, that's what we're doing right now. Meeting our hazard and, emergency program.
Right.
And of course, the other one we just finished, I haven't got the draft of that yet, but I should have it.
So part of the $3,000 they're asking is going towards the hours that they're putting in the Route 3 project and the hazardous waste program. How many hours do you think they're putting in a week?
Well, a week, I don't know, I can't tell you. We might not talk to them at all one week, but then maybe next week, one of us or a couple of us will be with them 2 or 3 days, depending
Right.
on what it is we're working on. They have always been very good. If we had an issue with like our zoning ordinance or something like that, they take that and they'll go over it. They're there, they've given us invaluable advice and maps for the master plan that we're finishing up now. I mean, they're just always there. I've never called and them said, no, we can't help you. That is never...
They also organize the Technical Advisory Committee, TAC, which I'm the member to, which is
As I'm
the
looking...
roads.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kathleen. As I'm looking at it, do you think we get 300 hours out of them during the year?
Oh, yeah.
If we,
More
char-
than
if
that.
they were to charge $100 an hour for their services, or even $50 an hour, we're getting anywhere from 300 to 600 hours.
We don't have
With no
people with
supplemental
the-
cost?
We have nobody with the
Yeah.
expertise that they have.
We are paying for having on-call expertise, so
Yes.
where we would have to contact different lawyers or
And that there is no supplemental
engineers and-
cost?
No, just the membership.
Just the membership.
The membership, that's all we have to do.
Is the membership cut up equally amongst the different towns?
No, they have a formula.
They have-
It's not like they take their budget and divide it amongst the towns. There's a formula. Probably has to do with
Population or by size or by...
appraisal and the whole,
Because that's why their financials just look so vague. It was like, all right,
I know in
budget of $780,000 on, it doesn't break down the state versus the federal versus, and, you know, I get you can't break it too much, but
I know in 2010, when they came to us, they lowered their request by like 5% because of the cost, so they don't just pull a number.
like I said, our percentage of $3,000 of 784, you know, don't really need it broken down. It's just nice to know that you guys get something out of them, you know?
And I guess my looking at it is that how many hours are we getting of the expertise and how much it would cost us in the real world to get that same amount of expertise.
Well, if you
And
had
certainly,
one before, it was quite expensive.
and I'm not disagreeing, because I think a reasonable cost for that expertise is $100 an hour, and if you're getting 300 hours out of them a year, that's paying for whether or not
engineers
Northfield
and consultants
is
are 150
supplementing
to
that
two.
or whatever. So as long as we're getting at least that amount, I think that it's a very good service and it's a good exchange.
Well, the other good part is they have a genuine interest in our town, and not just for the,
I was just going to say that. All of the
as an
other
individual corporation or something.
that ask for money, hands down, they have such a genuine interest in the town and a connection to it.
Nice.
You know, it all connects to what they want everything to connect to.
Lakes Region Planning.
Them as well, but it certainly is a benefit to the town.
Right. And as
I
I'm
would say
looking,
most of the attention that north of Concord gets for the Lakes region, and we don't get a lot, that they're responsible for a great deal of it.
and what I'm looking for is, again, the cost effectiveness. If we're getting that many hours from them at a reasonable price, then that service is acceptable, whether or not anyone else is putting into the pot or not. Because if we were only getting 10 hours out of it for the year, then I would have a concern. But certainly, I think we're underpaying them at this point in time.
Well, also what it seems like we get from them is information, and it's not an hourly spent on X and
No.
an hourly spent on Y, it's just an hourly spent on information, and we use it, and that's was my question. We use it, whether someone is in the town for X number of hours or...
You know, one of the examples is take the Silver Lake Road intersection. You know, it's identified as a very dangerous intersection. The New Hampshire DOT failed to realign it when they did the road project. They ran out of money. It's not in the 10-year plan. It was not in the 10-year plan, so, you know, and it was very difficult to slide something in there. So they guided us through the process and hosted the process and made the connections with DOT and got it all together. And, you know, we've had, 3 presentations now on it?
Very comprehensive presentations, too, I
Right,
would say.
so now it's going into that plan. But we could not have done that by ourselves.
But if you look
That's
at,
huge, because we have several residential complaints at that intersection, and as many, if double, the amount of accidents that have occurred at that intersection. So, a benefit to Tilton, oh yeah.
yeah, and if you look at the rates of consultants and
Yeah.
lawyers who do not do work all the time, but certainly do advice, they're certainly getting more than $100 an hour for that, just the advice, not for writing anything. And
Well,
so I think the
that's-
consultant
They'll
part
send
of
you
that...
$100 to send you the report.
Right, and I'm looking at the consultant part of it is, even for advice, at $100 an hour for 300 hours is a very cheap price to be had.
Oh, yeah, I don't think there's any question. If every time a project came up, we had to hire someone to come in and sit with us and guide us through the process, we would spend a whole lot more money than what membership in fact. So
They spent hours with us just on the impact fees.
Yes, they do.
Some projects that we hire them for, we have to pay them extra for. But it's still cheaper, I mean,
I was just gonna say
I don't,
cheap
I'm
money.
sitting here trying to think, what was the cheapest engineering project we ever had? And I think it was around $35,000, just to have something engineered. That's not, getting it anywhere, that's just, here you go. So, yeah, I think you're right, Wayne, that's the best way to put it. It's cheap money for expertise.
Right.
Having access to engineers and consultants and
We're
the
looking at, from the
mountains of information and data they have, statistical on our community, which is vital.
To put it in perspective, the school is looking at the middle school ball field to have it re-engineered, and they're talking $150,000 to $200,000 just for an initial engineering study, just the initial study, with more to come. So we're looking at any kind of project going up to $100,000, $200,000 very quickly for engineering. And, yeah, it's looking expensive.
Wonder if we can call Lakes Region Planning? Oh, my God. That's
I was
crazy.
just thinking the same thing.
Because, see, we're looking
If
at,
they don't do it, they'll give you advice on who to get.
well, this is it, we're looking at, probably $40,000 to $50,000 in engineering costs. Actually, it's probably more than that, I'm kidding myself, it's probably close to $80,000 for the island to satisfy DES. So, the thought process is we contact Lakes Region Planning and, they may come up with some boilerplate engineering for what they want us to design over there. I mean, I know what they want. They want cages with stones in them. I mean, that's a pretty easy thing. But that has to be stamped by an engineer. So if we get Lakes Region Planning involved, there's a couple of avenues I can foresee that will save us some money.
And they have a wide variety of experiences there, so there's a lot to tap into.
You tap into their existing reports, then you don't have to recreate the wheel and pay somebody to do it for you, which is nice. God, $100,000 to engineer that?
Yeah, they were talking about looking at, well, that's what happens when you build a field on top of a wetlands or swampland.
Get somebody like Kenny Partridge out there, he could tell you what to do, and you wouldn't have to pay him $100,000 to do it.
Well, that's after they have just went in.
That's just telling you how to proceed.
Well, they did all the drainage and then
I
redid
saw
all the
that.
drainage because the original drainage they put in was not up to specs. And now they put re-drainage in because the parking lot was backing up with water every time it rained. And so they've got that fixed. Now they're looking at changing that field into a multi-purpose athletic field to hold football, soccer, da-da-da-da. And they're,
Behind the middle school,
yeah, we beside the middle school going on to Deer Street.
you know that field, when they originally put it in, it was right after we moved up here, it looked like a big swamp. And
Yes.
Was a big swamp.
it had all the seagulls lived there.
Yep.
So they had to tear it out and start all over again because it was too low.
Yeah, and they've done that. What's happening now is different parts of the field are now sinking because of
blind people?
the settling on top of the wetlands. And every time it rains, it's washing out underneath the
Just so you
field.
know if they don't show
So
up.
they now have to figure out how to engineer something that will be less erosive, if they can do that.
Well, I think that's one of those things, put something in an area that is not after water. Sometimes water usually runs out.
Yes, it does.
Oh, they put Giant Stadium on a swamp, too.
Yeah.
Well,
Look at Walgreens, we all drove by and watched that sucker sink.
With all the pylons that's sitting on it, now it sinks.
Let's see. It's like the New Hampshire Association for the Blind, it doesn't look like they're going to be here. Do we have any questions that we can direct to them via email? Or?
Not really. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. A lot of what the information they gave is it's all in-state. It's all, it doesn't get federal grants. Doesn't seem like much to me, for what we're getting from them. You want to give us a little lesson on them? What are they, like, just by reading it, they give, aids and help to the blind, and for people, they have 3 active people, and they have 20 clients that will probably be active, sometime in the next few years.
And I think you'll
Heather would-
have more because
In the age of the population.
Macular degeneration seems to be,
it's macular
The new
degeneration.
HIV.
89% of people over 65 end up developing macular degeneration. And if, I'm working with somebody right now who 3 years ago was diagnosed, is just starting the treatment, and I contacted the Association for the Blind. They're going to go in. This happens to be a woman who's a professional pianist, and she can't read music anymore. It's a very sad disease. You go blind if it's not treated properly. And they go in with the various aids to help with lighting, with magnification, with arranging the house, because with arranging television or whatever, they actually have some, I call them blinders, and that's not the correct term, so that people who have eye disease can continue to drive because of the way it blocks the light when they're driving, because their eyes are sensitive to light. There are 2 people on the advisory board with me who have children who are blind. They help with providing different equipment. They're very willing to come in. They came to the senior center recently, and of all the programs we've had at the senior center, I thought this was interesting. Of all the programs we've had them on Alzheimer's, we've had them on heart disease, we've had them on high blood pressure, whatever. The one that seemed to generate the most interest was the New Hampshire Association for the Blind. And not only did they come, they brought different aids that would help people. And I noticed people going up usually after lunch, everybody scatters, but they didn't this particular day. They went up because I think as people age, their eyesight starts bothering them, and there's a fear of going completely blind. And I think they do a lot to help. On November 11th, we're having a Dining in the Dark dinner as a fundraiser, and it's to show people who are sighted what it would be like to be blind and have to eat dinner. But they do a lot of public service as well. I think so too.
I hope it's dry toast.
Now,
Coming out.
according to their letter, they are servicing 3
Spaghetti.
women clients in the Tilton area with specialized vision rehabilitation services, which on the front page comes out to $177.29 an hour for that to occur. They also have, in addition, a database of 20 clients in the town who are likely to require further vision rehabilitation services. They also do house calls.
Yeah.
So that looks like the services that we are currently receiving from them.
And even if, like, just by chance, 2 out of the 3 people they serviced happened to move to Concord last year, and, we just had 1, I think that number, our town is lucky that it's only 3, or it could change at any time.
Yeah.
Could change it.
Aging of America, it's gonna go up.
Well,
Right
Isn't
now,
it
it's 6 or
interesting? This
7
is the
people.
one outside agency, you don't want them to have lots of residential
Yeah,
clients.
But I think that it's changed since that material was.
The last I heard, it was 7.
Right.
Yeah.
When they came up to the senior center, it was more like 6 or 7.
Well, and that's part of that 20 client pool that the name changes. So we're looking at a pool of 23 people that could potentially use the services. So we're looking, 7's not unrealistic over that period of time as the elderly person is getting more impaired. And if they're getting about $180 per hour for the service, so they're asking for $1,500. So they're asking for less than 100 hours for the year of services for potentially up to, I would say, given it the way it's going now, up to 10 to 12 paid clients, which is
I'm
not
going to make a
unreasonable.
motion that we fund the Association for the Blind for $1,500.
Second.
We have a motion and a second Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye?
Opposed? So moved.
Abstain. I'm abstaining. I'm abstaining.
I think somebody, and we have one abstention, Jane.
Good.
That's okay.
That was really funny.
You are very enthusiastic. That's okay. You're so used to it.
Good. Mr. Chairman, since we
I
have,
would have said the same thing, but I was...
since we have
It's hard.
time, I would like to make a motion that we,
Oh, somebody's here.
Lake Region Planning. Oh, Joe.
that's Joe, that we recommend funding for the CAP program at the level that they requested this year.
We didn't vote on that last week?
Nope, neither one of them. CAP
I
or...
second the motion.
Let's give an amount in that. The CAP program, and that was for
23,389.
389.
That's correct, sir.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
This is regular cap, not Winnie Trans.
That
Right.
is correct.
No discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we fund Winnie Transportation for the money that they requested, which is $5,000.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second to fund Winnie Trans at the amount of $5,000. Any discussion?
Was there any thoughts of moving them down to $2,500 like you did last year?
I have a very hard time with this one. I recognize the need for the service, but it's the same conversation last year that Belmont, Guilford, Franklin don't fund them. Laconia gives them half as much as Tilton does, so they're looking to Tilton with our 3,600 people population for $5,000, and I know they're not fundraiser people, but they really need to go out to these other communities and bang on the doors and go to their, meetings. I know Belmont has a town meeting, just like we do. Go there, go to the people.
Yeah, my thoughts on this is
Tanger Outlet
this is
Mall.
the toughest one so far
Yeah.
for me, in that it's not mass transit, but it's a form of mass transit, and it just doesn't seem like they have the mass for it, and I hate to take away from the people who need it, because they really need it, and you try and justify it by, well, the businesses get something out of it, and whether it's their workers or their customers, and from what I got from them was, if we didn't fund them, what would happen? Would they go under? It's no, we'd have to become more creative. If, the federal government had a bigger, not the sequester, if they had another sequester and you got hit again, would that put you under? Be like, no, but we'd have to get more creative. Part of me, honestly, and the way I'm going to vote on this, is to hopefully get them to get the point that they have to get more creative, and they have to get more,
Yes.
and
I
like,
think they have gotten more creative this
Yeah.
past year from what the presentation they made.
And let me just bring this up. We have a main motion to fund them that was at the $5,000. Under Robert's rules, you can do a motion to amend the motion, which would need a motion for an amount along with the second, and that would get voted on to amend the main motion, and then we would vote on the main motion.
Okay.
If that's what you want to do, you could amend the motion to...
no, I know, amend it to a
Yeah.
different amount,
Yeah.
right? I don't, no.
I just think it's interesting when you ask them that, what would happen if we cut our funding or didn't fund them. Neither of them said, but we'd have to go out and raise some funds. We'd have to go out and,
Well, and
go
that-
to Walmart,
It
go
seemed like
to
Wayne
Tanger,
or
go
Eric,
to,
I forget who it was, had more
stores.
ideas as to what to, it was just like when we were walking out, it's like, I want so
Oh, we have a
badly.
motion on the floor for funding of we keep it budget.
Yeah.
My thoughts were the same. I spoke to him about getting some advertising and stuff like that last year, and I know it's very valuable very, very valuable service that they're providing. Right.
What was different this year that impressed me was the fact that Heather brought up the fact that she has people who get to work that way, and they're required to go out and search for jobs because they're getting town assistance, and that's the only way they have going out and searching, because most of them don't have a car. And also the fact that when they made the presentation, they have people working at J. Jill now and at Tanger Outlet who use that as primary transportation. And I think until they made that comment, I always thought of it as something that only took seniors or whatever. I do know that there are 2 people in this town who go to dialysis 4 days a week, and the only way they have of getting there is on the bus, the transit. And it's not something they can choose to do or not to do. They have to do it.
I agree. Like I said earlier, I mean, I want so badly to say yes to them, for the people who need them.
From a
But it's
business,
tough, even as a Tilton resident, even if we funded them down to $2,500, it's not like it's a lot of money. Every dollar matters. But as an American citizen, as the money that they bring in for the services that they bring at $61 a ride, it's hard. It was one of those, please give me a reason to say yes.
How much does it cost you to run your car? I mean, your car...
But that's not valid. I mean, basically, the town of Tilton taxpayers shouldn't be footing the bill more than is necessary because they're not raising funds.
Well,
Because
I'm
they're
gonna
not
make a
out there
motion
knocking on doors.
myself to fund the Winnie Transit at $2,500. If anybody wants to second
I'll
it.
second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on
I
changing to
just-
that amount? And then we have
Just-
that motion on the floor for that.
I just have one point, make it really
And then-
quick. If I was a businessman and I couldn't raise the money the way that I'm raising it, I'd raise the ticket prices. So that cost would then be turned on to the elderly and to the other folks to make up the difference. So by us not providing the subsidy for that, I would make sure that that got covered another way. So that means that instead of $1, their price then would go up to $2, and then that become cost prohibited to the people that really need it on dialysis and have to make those trips. So as I'm looking at that, and Mr. Chairman is suggesting $4,500.
$2,500,
2,500?
yes.
Okay.
Any more discussion on amending to $2,500? I'm going to keep it to the just Budget Committee during their voting time, while there's a motion on the floor. So the motion is to amend the original motion to be $2,500. We had a motion and a second. All those in favor of amending the motion to fund them to $2,500, say aye.
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 This is a vote to amend the amount.
Amend the motion.
Okay, yeah, aye.
And you're aye? And aye.
And aye.
And opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
So we have 3
3 to 2.
to change it to 2,500 and 2 to leave it at the main motion. So the motion moves, so the original motion is on the floor to fund the Winnie Transit for the amount of $2,500. Any more discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
So we have 3-2, so
against.
we have no
We're back
fund-
to
we're
the
back
beginning.
to the beginning
Yeah.
on this.
I
So
make
we
a
would have
motion to
another-
fund them for $5,000, as they requested.
Okay, a motion to fund Winnie Transit at $5,000 as they originally requested. Any more discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
No.
Nay.
Mr. Chairman, I suggest that we
Let's see,
post...
we had
First and
first
second.
was,
Thursday,
Wade
second.
seconded.
Yep.
No, one second.
so right now, we don't have them funded for anything.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we table this discussion until next week.
Until,
Is next week,
or a future time?
For a future time. It doesn't have to be the next
More
week.
members
For a
and bring it
future
up
time,
for
yeah.
future discussion,
We have time.
Okay. We can.
I'll second that motion if it's needed.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, well, we have a motion on the floor for our decision to reconsider it at a future time. All right. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? So moved. We'll reconsider this, I think when we have more people discuss it.
So,
And
Lake
Sandy.
Ridge, when's,
Sandy.
I just wanted to say, I've been working with Karen a lot. She's coming up with all these creative ideas, like on Route 3 to increase bus service, to be able to have businesses park their employees somewhere else and bring them in. But as far as the monies and the people who ride the bus, if you remember, a few years back, they didn't have the money and they had to cut way back on the service, and it hurt a lot of people. Now, I know that, we sit here and we say, well, this town's not funding them or that one's not funding them very much. But why are we hurting our own townspeople because somebody else isn't doing something? I wished every town would support them, fund them at their full amount so that they could offer them even more. But we aren't in those other towns, we're in this town, and we have people who need that service.
Yeah, it's a very difficult position that, as a budget committee, to do these things. And a lot of times, the decisions we make here are in what we feel is the best interest of the legislative body. And many times, we've seen that when it goes to town meeting, those things get changed because people will rally for it, for something that they're truly interested in and is really important. So it doesn't necessarily reflect that we don't want these things.
I'm
So,
not saying you don't want them,
it's a tough, but there is always the opportunity to amend that at the, on the floor at the town meeting.
And
we're still going to discuss it, and we have a couple members that aren't here that might have be enough to throw the vote either.
And I'm also hoping that since we are live, that people are watching where we're at, the dilemma that we're in, and certainly provide us with feedback on how they feel within the community on what they saw tonight and where they stand
Sure.
within that.
And to answer you as one of the people who was against it, to be honest with you, it seems to me like a lot of the other towns around us who aren't supporting it don't have the Tanger outlet and Walmart and the commercial business that would use this, and that would be the thing that would drive me as a reason to say yes for the people who need it, the businesses that would use it and the growth that it would give our town. But when I got answers from them, it's Walmart doesn't seem to be interested, Tanger Outlet doesn't seem to be interested, J. Jill has a couple employees that they use. It doesn't seem like the commercial part of our town is, and there is a certain point where we have to realize we're a small town. And we have to act like
can
a
we
small
move on to
town.
discussion since we've tabled this to another time?
Yeah, we've tabled this to another time, so why don't we start up, at a future date?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion that we fund the Lakes Region Planning Commission at the level that they requested, which is?
That's last year.
Okay.
And this year, Lakes Region Planning. 3,000?
3,304.
I second it.
We have a motion from Wayne and a second from Jane to fund Lakes Region Planning at $3,304. Any discussion?
I have a few concerns with this, in that their financials are very vague. It's not a lot of money compared to their budget. Their financials not only are vague, that to the point where it's not understandable, and them not showing to answer questions is a bit concerning. The fact that we had prominent, respected people from the town who answered a lot of my questions gives me a little bit better comfort in my vote now. But just on the record, I'm a little discouraged that they didn't show up, and I would hope that next year, when they send their financials, it will be a little bit more comprehensive and a little bit more useful.
Did they confirm their date, their time and date to be here?
Confirm?
No, generally, no one confirms generally.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
No, that's, okay, that says
I
a
think we
lot.
might have lost out to the Red Sox, or
I believe that was a factor.
they've been here every year in the past, but...
Go figure.
Anything else?
I'd like to call the question.
Would you like to call the question? And so we have all those in favor of funding Lakes Region Planning Commission at $3,304, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Good. So moved.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn if there is no further business to be held by this committee.
I will second. Seconded.
A motion to adjourn in a second to allow everybody to go see the Red Sox.
Well, not
All those in
everybody.
favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
And you get to get a candy.
Okay, we'll open this meeting of
It's 31st.
October 31st, 2013. Let the record show that Selectman Dawson and Selectman LaPlante are not present. Happy Halloween to everyone. Thank you to the merchants downtown for making the downtown trick-or-treat excursion a very nice, pleasurable. There were over 300 children that went in. Merchants dressed up. There were great prizes. Thank you for the chief. The Speedway gave 4. The top prize was 4 NASCAR tickets with the VIP passes and VIP pit passes and VIP parking.
Cool.
We had a couple of night stays at the Hampton Inn, any Hampton Inn, a $50 Common Man gift certificate, and 2 $25 Irving or Circle K gift cards. So we had 5 prizes, and the Mad Hatter from Gabriel's was first prize, that which was outstanding participation from the merchants. Next year, we'll start a little bit earlier to let them all know, all the way down to the Stafford Oil, and as far up to Cumbies. I think it would be very exciting.
Yep.
The
I was just going to add, the winners' pictures are on the website if anyone would like to see them.
Yep, they're on the website. That was great. So thank you for the Irving and Hampton Inn and Common Man and New Hampshire Speedway for the donation of the prizes this year for our Halloween merchants trick-or-treat. We have, what was the other thing coming up? Sincere prayers go out to Bob Hardy at the loss of his mother. So prayers and thoughts go out to him. There's one other thing that we needed to bring up at the beginning for the budget.
Want your budget book?
We have let's go with the budget. That's what we're here for.
Tim said he'll be up in a couple of minutes.
All right. Oh, my budget's over there. We have the latest selectmen's budget.
That is, I just printed it out, this one that I just put in here.
I got 2 then. Okay. All right. So, Are these the we'll ask Tim when he comes up, are these the latest rates? It says waiting for new rates, but I understood that we had the new rates.
Looking at,
Oh, here he comes. The health insurance.
oh, okay, yep. He has all that.
Are the new health insurance rates tied in here?
They are.
Okay, because it says waiting for new rates. So we can scratch that out.
Well, the waiting is also
What were our decisions?
correct. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what you asked for.
Great.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Hot off the presses.
We asked for an year-to-date expenditure for parks.
Has the pump been removed from the river?
It's been removed, but we don't know if it's still working or not.
Oh,
There's
it's
also,
on.
what's not here is a $10,000 and a $4,200.
No, 4,200, but the 10,000
Is there?
is in here, yeah, in two payments.
Okay.
Two payments, okay.
Yeah, there's a deposit and then the remainder.
Okay.
Deposit was made back in August, page 3. And the remainder was paid at the bottom of page 3. It's about 10,700.
Okay. Got it.
One of the other big expense they had was the moving the cameras. I've worked with them on that.
That was Mango?
Mango relocated the cameras that were no longer useful, that were in the bell tower, and they were relocated down. And an IR lit camera was installed as well, so that at night, even if the lights are off, they'll still be able to see, who's there on the camera under the gazebo.
There's two Mango security systems here.
Yeah, one is a deposit, and one's
Okay.
one is complete.
All right.
And what's coming in this week's payables would be the $4,200 to Mike Farrington Enterprise.
And what did he do?
That was, I believe it was leveling work at Route 132 Ballfield in Loam.
Okay.
And then there's going to be hydro seeding that'll be done in the spring. And there's also another contract for painting at the Riverfront Park. I believe it's $2,100 or $2,200.
That's the railings?
That's the railings. It's just determined whether that can be done now. The temperature has to be above 50 degrees for
Right.
some period of time. And there may be an opportunity next week to do that. Otherwise, they're going to seek to encumber that and do the work in the spring.
All right.
So, there's a charge here for $1,500 to Mango to move the cameras,
Yes.
which represents half of that charge.
Yeah, if you look further down, there's another one.
It actually worked
So
out.
$3,000 to move the camera.
It wasn't quite that much. The second payment was a little less, 1,300 something, almost 1,400.
Oh, well,
But-
there you go.
But there was a lot of work involved in, because of the building, the structure of the building. And the cost of new cameras to put them in place was prohibitive. And because of the age of the system that's there, maintaining the same cameras was the most cost-effective way to go. I agree, it's still a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
You said it was 14, you're showing both of them, one at 1532 and the other one at 1532.50.
What was I thinking? I was thinking one of them was a little less, maybe it was that it came in less than what was originally quoted.
Oh, okay.
What it was.
Yeah.
So yes, I guess you're right, Joe, it was 3,000. I think originally it may have been 32 or 3,300. Proposal.
So let's take the budget.
Are you working on the one he just gave us, the draft?
Yep.
It should show 1031 on the bottom right-hand corner, date time
The one I
printed.
got.
And I did make the updates that the board instructed last week. And then I've also updated it to include the Budget Committee changes from last night.
Okay. I was just gonna ask if you'd gotten those changes yet.
And then the health insurance figures based on the current census.
Great.
So with everything else remaining equal, just changing the cost of the health plan. And you'll see overall, and I also extended out the percentage column to include a decimal position. So those are a little, may make a little more sense this week, but you'll see with the health insurance lines, they're all up roughly 7.9 or 8%.
Yep.
Well, we have to figure out with the price of the health insurance, whether or not, did you come up with any alternative numbers as to if employees contributed more money to the health plan, what advantage it would be to the town of Tilton, the cost-wise?
Joyce and I had discussed various levels and also what's been bantered around, in the listservs that we belong to. There's everything from fully covered to almost 20%. The majority of them are in probably the 12 to 15% range, maybe 10 to 15%. So when she and I talked, and I think this is probably the discussion she was going to have with you Tuesday, as it related to looking at the health plans, looking at a 12% for non-union.
Joe, the last 3 years, we've asked the union people to go, one year was stay at the 10%, the next year was 12.5%.
No, the second year was 12, the third
And
year
there was 14.5.
which is where it is now.
Which is where it is now, but we stayed, during that 3 years, was consistently stayed at 10% with non-union people. Now our rates are gone up. We're in contract negotiations again. How can we justify asking them to go up, and we haven't asked our town employees to go up? In my opinion, but I think that we have to look at what type of contributions we can safely ask our employees to go up.
I was going to say, I don't know if it still is, but we were getting a discount because we kept everything with the same company. Are we still, or is that
Well,
not accurate
it's
anymore?
not determined yet.
Okay.
Because they've split into each, very separate
Right.
legal entities for all the things that have gone on, so.
So we don't know that yet.
Joyce has asked for it more than once, and she's waiting on an answer.
Okay.
Whether or
as to
not.
How that's going to affect our, really, where we saw the discount was in the property liability and rates.
Yes.
and
Okay.
workman's comp. That's where, now whether they just chose to put it in that area, I don't know, but.
Well, I just know that the last time when I helped Joyce and we compared everything, but if you added in that discount we got because everything else was together, then it kind of knocked the rest of them out of the water, there was just no comparison because of the discount. But if we're not going to get a discount, then it might be more worthwhile to consider another company.
Right, it could well be. One of the other things that we're trying to work out getting a quote on is on disability insurance. We currently use another company for disability insurance, and it's been not a very smooth process or easy process for anyone that's been on short-term disability.
Right.
And one of the things that is offered through LGC is that we could actually the town could continue to make the payments, and then the disability insurance money is reimbursed to the town, which would make it much, much easier for any employee going on short-term disability, and it makes all the taxes and reconciliation so much easier because we're not going back and recollecting or having to, get money from the employee after the fact.
Right.
And then also quarterly 941 filing, and all that is known right at the time, and we're not having to go back. Like right now, I'm going to have to do a corrected 941 because of information that we have now that we didn't have, when we did the 941.
Right.
So it would be much simpler, and I think a lot better for the employee. The question is, are the rates that much different? Many municipalities use them for disability because of that purpose, because otherwise the employee is refunded, is paid the money. And then also the way the taxes work, some taxes are paid by the third-party disability, and some taxes are paid by the town, and then they reimburse us for New Hampshire retirement. And I can tell you, it is, it's just more complex than it needs to be,
Right.
Provided the rates are within the same ballpark.
Yeah.
But the fire district uses LGC for disability. A number of other local governments do too. It just seems to work well that way.
Well, I've seen everything you guys have to go through, and it's like, I remember saying to Joyce, there's got to be a better way than this.
Well, and the worst part, I think, is for the employees. There's been an employee that was very concerned who was going to have a procedure done, and has to almost make weekly calls to the disability company wondering about his check and,
Right.
and whether or not they got everything, and worried that all the paperwork is flowed from here.
Yep.
And there's just so many more steps in that
We
route
could eliminate that.
that
Yeah.
we could eliminate it, and if the employee has that peace of mind knowing that the town is making those
Yeah.
payments, and then we're taking care of getting it from
Yeah.
the disability
Yeah.
provider, and it gives us much more control over not only the payments, but the reconciliation work, the taxes, retirement, everything.
Yeah.
Because we have to do salary continuances.
So you're waiting on whether or not they can do that?
Well, this has been a plan that Joyce and I have had for some time to
Try to do.
get that kind of information, and she now has everything she needs to be able to get those quotes from them.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that in this budget cycle, we'll be able to, at least
Incorporate
present
that,
that
yeah.
and see how they look. Personally, I don't have any idea if it's as competitive as what we have, but we have seen increases from our current disability supplier, and
If we had a better incentive to opt out of insurance, do you, maybe Joyce would probably be perhaps better to answer this, I don't know, maybe you can. Would there be more people taking advantage of that, which would be it would be more reasonable to the town to pay an opt-out fee rather than do an insurance?
it's hard to say. We have, I think, maybe 5 people right now
Yeah.
that opt out, and most employers that offer health plans also have some type of opt-out plan. It has been mentioned to me at the PD, it's been suggested that there would be if we had it, and in the past there have been 2 at least one, possibly two that I was aware of in the PD that were considering it, but for some reason didn't do it, and I don't know if that had to do with what the cost of their spouse's plan was versus what the buyout of the town's was.
On a family plan, on an average, what does it cost the town for that plan?
The
employee?
The employee, what does it cost the employee or the town?
Both.
A family plan full price is $26,855. And so for a non-union employee, we would look for $26,85 in contributions against that. So there'd be about a $24,170 cost to the town of a family plan. Currently, we pay a $5,000 buyout on a family plan, so roughly about a quarter. And the family plan, as the plans have gone up in price, the buyouts, I think, have remained the same since they were instituted. Thank you. Yeah. Back in, was it 2007, 8? 2007 or 8 is when they were put in place, and they've remained the same since, to my knowledge. But the plans have increased in price, so it's becoming a lower percentage of what the total cost is, but it really depends on what a spouse's plan is, what their buyout is, because there may be people on our plan because their buyout is better than our buyout.
And the unknown right now is that we have some new faces at the PD, and we have changes.
Right.
And we don't know what the contract's going to bring, so there may be incentive and there may not be incentive.
I mean, technically, the buyout doesn't cost the town really anything, other than the people that are currently on it that would receive more money as a result of a higher buyout. But if you take a family plan, a $24,000 family plan, and you have let's say a $6,500 buyout or a $7,000 buyout even, or even at the $5,000 buyout, the town is going to save between $17,000 and $19,000 in a case like that.
Right.
So versus if somebody's got maybe a $5,000 buyout there's a $5,000 buyout here, but they get a better prescription plan here, they're going to stay on the town's plan and take the other buyout. But it just depends.
What's to prevent them both from taking the buyout and going to the Affordable Care Act exchanges and spending $3,000 for insurance and pocketing the $7,000?
I don't
Nothing,
know.
right?
I don't know.
And
Yeah.
are there implications here?
I really don't know. I'm not as up on that, the Affordable Care Act
I'm not
as
either,
Joyce is. Joyce would be the one to ask on that, but it's just difficult to say. I mean, you could increase it, and you might get one or two people that take advantage of it, but that one or two, depending upon what type of plan they're on currently.
It's 30
If you
to
got
50.
two family plans, you could be talking about $35,000 to $40,000 of savings in employer health care. The other aspect of this is that with health care, you could look at it from a longevity standpoint, that people on family plans are probably going to be less mobile and less likely to change jobs, and that a family plan, you're also not paying New Hampshire retirement on, you're not paying payroll taxes on, and so on and so forth. So that the more affordable you make a family plan for someone, the possibly, and I'm not suggesting this is the case in all cases, but the wages may not have to increase as much if you have a more affordable family plan.
Right.
So, in other words, your incentive for staying at the town employment is as much because of the health insurance that you're getting as in relation to what the wage is. So people take that into account, and I think they weigh those things.
Sure they do.
But there's really no way to know unless one really knew where a spouse worked, what their plan paid in terms of buyouts. It's just one of those things, though, that a higher buyout doesn't mean that there's a higher cost to the town. If anything, it's a lower cost. And I felt this way for quite some time, that there's no harm in increasing that.
What happens if everybody bought out?
Well, it'd be very unlikely, but if everybody bought out, we'd have a lot of savings in health insurance.
How would we pay for the buyouts?
Well, you would have to budget, I guess it is still budgeted in the health insurance line. So whether employee A has a family plan and employee B has a buyout, you'll see 24,000 and say 5,000 right next door. So you're budgeting 29,000 for those two people, as opposed to 48,000 for two family plans.
Right.
So,
the budget, it's in the budget.
So next year, instead of, the $100,000, you'll see 29. But,
At you?
yeah, I guess so.
Somebody's buzzing.
Yeah. It's really a tough thing to say.
What is that?
Restricted. I better go get it.
Okay.
The downside, Joe, is if you have a lot of buyouts, and all of a sudden people say, nah, I'm going to come back on the family plan.
Right.
All of a sudden you budgeted for employee A and B on family plans of $10,000, and all of a sudden you're having to pay out $48,000,
Right.
Buyouts are a one-time thing, is that correct?
Well,
We buy them out every year.
oh, no, it's bought out every year. I mean, because the employee has the option of coming back on the payroll. And there are a number of different buyouts. You have the family plan, a two-person, a single. So, it gives...
He'll be back.
So it's just a little tricky, but it was suggested to me recently, just a couple of months ago at the PD, that it seemed that they thought that one of the employees thought it was a low figure.
Oh, the buyout figure was low.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got, looks like Superman just walked in.
I'm surprised she didn't shriek when she saw Joanna.
All right, so health insurance, we'll know a little bit more on Tuesday when we get the final figures and we talk with Scott. That's at 2 o'clock. Scott's going to be here
2 o'clock?
on Tuesday.
All right.
And I think Joyce is also making a recommendation on which plans to offer as well.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
And that would be November 5?
5.
I did also make the change in the, on page 4, the Conservation Commission, remove the amount of the Silver Lake
Oh, yeah.
milfoil remediation, and put that down on the last page under Lake Improvement Capital Reserve Fund. warrant article. Those warrant article numbers on the last
See.
page are from last year, but it's just a placeholder,
Right.
obviously. I would think, though, if you were going to consider voting on any of the budgets, some of the ones that might make sense would be the possibly Health and Human Services,
Yep.
and then possibly the finance budget on its own, which incorporates the debt and the TAN interest.
Well, did we already, we already did the town clerk tax
Yeah,
collector.
we
okay.
did that. And we did highway, right?
No,
Oh, we haven't done highway.
we did land use.
Oh, that's right, land use and, okay. I'm just going to put a little check by the ones we've done here.
Yep, and they'll also show in this column.
Yeah, okay, that's true, yeah. Land use.
So I'll make a motion that we accept the highway budget for a total of $1,044,942.
I'll second that.
That, for discussion purposes, there may be a change depending on, they voted at the co-op last night to make it a, instead of November to November, it's going to be a calendar year now, so next year would be a 13-month budget, but Dennis wants to wait to see what figures come in for the ash credit and
The ash, that's the, yeah.
That's it?
That's the big one, yeah. And in fact, I'm preparing a revenue budget for next year, and I have the ash credit. I have a figure for ash credit in there.
Okay.
So we're anticipating that we're going to receive.
he may be able to get by without changing it to, and then just carry the 12 months next year. So,
Between the ash credit and the reduction in
well, he's thinking, but
MSW.
the ash credit goes to the town, not to the highway, though.
Right. Well, we didn't really.
Depends on how we vote to disperse the ash credit.
Right.
Right.
If it goes as a credit against the bill from the incinerator, then it'll come directly off that line, because he won't be spending it.
Right.
Not necess,
I always prefer, the gross appropriation, we take it as revenue and show whatever expense we have. But it's just, but yeah, you have different ways of doing it. The reduction in solid waste, though, wasn't a great deal. If you,
Right.
it went from 312 down to 287
And I think that...
It's conservative.
that 287 is low.
is low,
It's too low.
is too low.
No. It's
too high.
Too back. It's too high.
Right, yeah, I agree, it's too
If we
conservative.
spend a $250,000 on that line, I'd be very surprised.
And that's why I was thinking that he should be able to absorb a month of, an
Yes,
extra month,
no
which is
doubt.
usually about $28,000.
There's also the potential for line 867, which is the curbside contract, to go down as well.
Right. Yeah, if they go to once a week. Yeah.
We should know within 60 days if they're going to propose it.
Yeah. So and also the extension, that extra month, that comes at a time when we have usually our lower bills from the co-op. So that's at the low period of the year, so they're the high bills of summer. Those are usually pretty easy to absorb.
Yeah.
So,
any more discussion on the motion?
Nope. Not for me.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so highways finished. Health and Human Services? That would include health officer, miscellaneous expense, director of welfare, administrative expenses, welfare general assistance, for a total of $111,782.
Make a motion that we accept the Health and Human Services budget as presented.
Second.
I guess I've asked a couple of times, my only question is, with what's been coming in, whether or not the 50,000 will be enough. She seems to be generating a lot more business than, not she's generating, but a lot more business is being generated than what was there before. but she seems to feel, every time I've asked, she said, no, I think I'll be all right where I'm at, so,
She's extremely well within her budget right now on that
yes,
line.
yes.
It would have to get completely,
And
It's starting to now
Yeah.
with Lockmere Meadows.
that figure there, though, does include some extraordinary recent expense.
Yeah,
So
it's coming.
It's higher than it was last year, but I have no doubt that she's going to be able to stay under that figure.
No,
I feel
she's,
very comfortable.
yeah, she seems to be able to find things under every rock to be able to use, so.
Any more discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion for $111,782?
Aye.
Aye. Why does Chad have $100 in there?
That's, was on one of the
You just
sheets
turned-
that I got
We only put in for it for 1 year, and
for 1 year.
That
So it
was-
should not be?
No, that shouldn't be done.
where is
So do you want to
that?
zero
right
that
above
out?
it, right above Director of Welfare.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
says-
I mean, that, we put in it 1 year for printing, and we said we wouldn't go back to the
Okay.
taxpayers for money, so it was
That
not
can come
gonna,
out.
All right.
so
Do we
it'd
need
be
to?
682,
Yeah, 682 instead of 782.
right?
You need a new motion for that.
Do you want to,
I'll make a motion to accept the amended amount of $111,682 with the removal of the chat as a health agency, $100.
I'll second that amendment.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. It wasn't expended last year or the year before, so I don't know why we're putting it in. Okay. Culture and Recreation, what do we have left? The library.
The library.
Library, and that's it.
Did seem as though, on the last page, the Budget Committee has voted on community action,
Yes.
but the Selectmen have not yet.
The Red Cross.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept $23,389 for Community Action Program.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Red Cross was done last night.
All those in favor of the motion?
Yes.
Yes.
It was done last time?
Yes. There was a motion for Red Cross last night for 1,500.
No, that was blind.
Oh, okay, what was Red Cross?
Wasn't,
1809, yeah.
That wasn't-
I didn't see it on the sheet.
that was not done.
Okay.
It wasn't? I thought.
I don't think so.
No, it was
I have
the only-
questions that I would have asked.
There was only the blind and Lakes Region Planning.
Oh, that's right, yeah. The Red Cross was the other.
Right.
Okay. Sorry, my mistake. I don't know why I'm sitting here, done them.
Okay.
No, they're not even until 12:04. Yeah.
Are we, any more under the,
Did you want to vote on CAP, where is it? The transportation? Transit?
I'm fine with that if you want to.
It's page 8.
I got it.
I personally, as a resident taxpayer, am fine with that amount. However, the Budget Committee has questions, and as a result of that, there will be further discussions and more information. I'd like to hear that information, quite frankly,
Okay.
before we voted on it,
Okay, no, that's fine.
as a selectman.
Yep. And we voted yes on the community action, correct? Just,
So there's new beginnings, and we wanted to wait at the Budget Committee, and there's Red Cross, and we wanted to wait.
right, to hear them.
Pines,
Well, they're coming in too, aren't they?
yep,
We haven't talked about that at all with the budget yet.
no,
Do you want to wait for those discussions?
it's up to the board. I'm fine with making a proposal, but
If you want to make one, make one.
I think that, seeing as we're 2 selectmen short, and this has been a very contentious issue in the past, that the entire board maybe should discuss this. Trick or treat.
Trick or treat! You see it?
I'm afraid to look.
It's underneath the chairs.
It's right over near that one.
Are we?
Did you see it?
She'll find it. Yeah, oh, right there.
so,
So we'll wait. If nothing else, we'll hear the budget one more time and then,
I was gonna vote for the total amount.
And I'm totally good with it. And legally, technically, we can do it.
Okay.
However, I still think it's in the best interests of the town to have all 5 representatives here when we make that vote.
okay, so we'll vote next week.
All right,
I
we're waiting.
liked his when he was going to agree with you, but it was like,
Well, of course,
Yeah, I'm all about the Pines. I've
course.
been watching them and talking to them, and I see what they do, and they have issues, but they're working to
I think
resolve.
they've come a long way.
They have indeed, and
yeah.
the other 2 selectmen should, hey,
And I
and
think
maybe
they've-
unanimous.
Yep.
yeah, of course, you always have the option, and I'm sure there may be, either due to omission, error, or otherwise, be adjustments, here and
Right.
there that'll be brought forward to you, which
Sure.
can be revisited, but, did you want to consider the finance budget?
Yep.
Just the finance? I did provide you with a debt schedule, and I did not make another copy for you, but that is, those figures for the principal and interest payments are coming right off of our, right off of the debt schedule. And boy, I gotta get some new glasses. I'll make the print bigger. Oh, gosh.
That's the blind.
Also, as it relates to the TAN, I'm hoping that we can even borrow a little less next year than what we borrowed this year. We borrowed $1 million this year. It just gets very tight at certain times of the year. But we've been able to either reduce the total amount borrowed, we've been able to reduce the total amount borrowed in each year since I've been here, as well as reduce the amount of payments for that, on those borrowed funds. But we've also been enjoying a very low interest rate environment, which at some point will change. According to the Fed, it doesn't sound like it's going to happen anytime soon, because they opted yesterday to keep their current policy in place.
Right.
You're a finance guy, right? What happens if,
That worries me when you start out that way.
well, you probably know more than
It is
me.
Halloween.
Interested in the reserve currency potential. If
The unfunded?
If the US dollar no longer is the reserve currency, and we can't print money to pay our debts, what happens to interest rates, in your opinion? You haven't thought about this?
I really haven't thought about it, but
Think about it. I'm going to ask you
I
again.
don't think it's going to have, I would be surprised if it had any appreciable impact.
Think about it. Do
Yeah.
some research. I think it'll have significant impact.
Okay. Okay. I'll take a look. That's not something I normally delve into, but,
Well, if that were to happen and interest rates were to jump to 9-10%, that would make a significant difference to everybody.
most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. And in fact, if anything, the lesson that some of us may be looking at in 10 years from now is looking back and saying, gee, wouldn't it have been great if we had bought a building, built out a PD,
Yep,
when interest rates were, gosh, do you remember when they were below 3%?
yes.
Do you remember? And, but at the same time, at some point in time, we're also going to be receiving a much higher return on our invested
There will
capital.
be that.
So we'll also have more revenue, paying out more money, but...
Why are we putting, if we've only spent $35, why are we putting $300 in for Budget Committee expenses?
That was just purely
I guess.
a guess on my part, without having any direction from the Budget Committee. I
Where does-
discussed it with Joanna, but
Where does Johanna's salary come out of?
that comes out of the Salary Budget Committee.
Okay.
And what they use that other line for generally,
Two.
this is on bottom of page 2.
Okay.
Generally, what they use that line for, or where it gets the most use, is for advertising.
Public hearing.
The
Yeah, the public hearings and stuff,
Or if
yeah.
they're advertising for another person or something like that, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We've only spent $925 for the Budget Committee.
They get their
salary.
stipends at the end.
Yeah, and keep in mind that the year-to-date has only just started the weekly meetings, so as Joanna's wages, are now going to be weekly through the end of the year, you'll see that increasing more quickly.
And then you have, in December, everybody gets their stipends for being
Right.
on the committee.
Correct. Yep.
How much for the stipend?
300.
300.
And a bargain at that price.
Doesn't even pay for gas with the selectmen, let me tell you.
I don't know.
No,
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the finance budget of $577,627.
second?
Any discussion? All those in favor of $577,627 for the finance budget, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. IT budget, we have a list of what you're,
Do one of the...
Any
one of the
changes
things
to
that I'm one of the things I'm concerned about is, as it relates to voice over IP, the cable consortium agreement, if we are having to pay for basically retail fiber access to the internet, which is what we're going to require, a big enough pipe for voice over IP, it's going to
You need
be
copies?
more than what's in this,
You need a copy?
more than what I have here. I was basing this off of if we were going to get either a significant break or very low cost of connection. And in the most recent communication regarding the cable consortium agreement, it seems like that may not be the case.
And it may not. We currently have a meeting on the 5th of November, I believe it is. And at that time, the agenda is to consider internet access as part of our, because right now we're a television cable contract, but MetroCast doesn't want to mix one with the other. So there's a discussion, that's part of my thing for this evening, there's to be a discussion about entering into a consortium agreement or extending the one that we have now in order to, because we all have that same issue.
Right.
What do we do? How do we get fiber in our schools? How do we get fiber at the, between buildings?
The school district is actually going to be leaving, I think, and going to Fairpoint for, it's a good likelihood. I don't think it's done yet, but they've been moving in that direction for throughput and that sort of thing. And I think for us, it would mean about an additional $5,000 a year if we have to, pay for that fiber access.
See if it's the same.
I think it is. You wouldn't know.
Oh, thank you.
Well, regardless of what comes of the meeting on the 5th, there's going to be a charge for access. I can't imagine anybody giving it away.
Yep.
But
Yeah, right.
the
But
Fast Roads program, State of New Hampshire Fast Roads, through the communities that, and I missed the meeting this morning because I just couldn't get up, for the broadband, was the Fast Roads program is laying a fiber optic trunk all around the state, as well as connecting wireless towers, and part of it's for emergency services, but part of it is the towns that this runs through are supposed to have access. Now, what does that mean? Are they going to run it from 93 and Route 3, because it comes right up Route 3, 93 to Route 3, and then it goes up toward Laconia? Are we going to be able to get them to lay it over here? Do we have to pay for that? There's a lot of unclearness in my mind anyway, but...
Well, if there is a part of the IT budget that is most undetermined, I would say it is that. This actually, this sheet, Sandy, was when we did the transfers. This goes back to May.
Oh. Okay.
But I can.
Do we have another one?
Well,
Let me look.
I need to make this a little bigger. I hadn't anticipated. I know that Catherine and Al had some questions on this. I can run through these items in terms of software. Outside of what we currently have, there was a new server software for the PD, because one of the hardware and software items is replacing TPD 2, which is the terminal server there, which which has its own issues and has failed a few times. So I've always been able to bring that back current and running, but it really needs to be done for licensing issues and other reasons.
Is it possible to incorporate the old server into a new server to give us even more server space?
We use the old servers where we can for file services, but not for application services. So yeah, there is a use to those. They're still like accessible on the network, that type of thing, but they're not mission critical. Really the two things that I wanted to talk to you about in terms of the changes in the IT piece were the case management. One item, as I've seen and talked to both code enforcement and health officer, they have more and more cases where record keeping is really a critical aspect, documenting violations, recording those in a consistent manner, scheduling follow-up inspections, producing violation letters
Right.
that are consistent, all that, and then keeping this in such a form that whether the Board of Selectmen or the land use assistant or town administrator could go in and see, well, what is the code enforcement officer working on, or what's happening with this case, and be able to see a whole case history of it. And that is one component of a whole suite of applications that are all web-based, of which this one that I had budgeted.
You're talking about this one,
Yeah,
right?
no, it's actually one that was,
Yeah.
but you have the right packet.
Yeah,
It's the next page, I believe.
yep.
Yeah.
Copy it.
Oh, do you need a
Copy for
Here,
Florence.
I'll copies.
The,
The whole packet.
it's really, it can be used for other things besides code enforcement and health officer, but there's two components of it. There's kind of a initial cost and then an ongoing cost. And it can also be integrated with citizen reporting of items, so that there's also preventative maintenance, work order management, all sorts of different types of things that at some point in time could be licensed by the town, but that would cost more, to do those things. But it has the kind of functionality where if someone's driving down the road and they see a tree down into the road, they could take a picture of it, alert the town, it would come into this work order management, and someone could, transfer that over to Public Works. They'd see, not only that, but they get a text alert that there's a tree down, that sort of thing, and they can go take care of it. Preventative maintenance also, in terms of scheduling all the aspects of work that have to be done, say at Riverfront Park, at Vest Pocket Park, all throughout the year, and so that no one ever drops the ball on those things. And the reminders are created, work order lists for a particular week, whether it's mowing, fertilizing, whether it's painting or
Sounds
inspecting things. Well, it's met with some resistance in some departments. The time probably isn't right for that, but these other...
Time's right for it.
Well, yeah, right, yes. So this is just the case management piece, but there are all these other things that can
you can-
attach to it and
right.
work with it. And there are many municipalities and cities that work with this product. So
What's the product called?
it's called iWorks. And in fact, I was going to schedule a demo for Catherine and Al to take a look at it. At one point, I was thinking it might have been a little overkill for them, but from the standpoint, if we ever end up in a court situation where we have to show records, where we have to show our progress.
We just did.
And
Yes.
this is, to me, a way we can show we have a process, a defined process. We have a defined set of, letters and documents that we use,
Right.
checklists, and here's our whole history with date, time stamps,
Yep.
notes.
Yep.
You upload pictures to it. You can tag them as a violation or as a corrective action or
Yep.
whatever. And it keeps all that together. So a year back, you can look at, oh yeah, here's a picture of this, whatever it was a year ago, and just went out and did a re-inspection, and it's improved, but there's still some residual problem. So it really, it's nice from that standpoint. But the other item...
And how much is that software?
Well, the case management itself is $1,600. The balance of it is kind of getting the base module and some data
Yep.
work, which I still have to negotiate with them on, but I got that down from $3,600 to a total of $2,500, so that's not all annual fee on that. The other item on here that you see still, because this is an old packet, but where you see the $6,000 underneath the $2,500, the chief has a pressing need for
$6,000?
recording equipment.
Is that what you're going to tell me? He has a
Recording
pressing
equipment.
need for $6,000?
Recording equipment. And now our new voice over IP system will record lines if you so choose, so that any phone call could be recorded and it would beep during the during the conversation. But this is, I have it here somewhere. What this does, though, is it records radio traffic as well as the dispatch line, so that you have the ability in an emergency situation, the dispatcher gets a call, someone is not very clear on the phone, but clearly need help, the line goes dead, the dispatcher can quickly replay what that just was, and at the same time, there's a recording of all the radio traffic that's going through between the dispatcher and any of the vehicles.
Well, vehicle to vehicle.
I believe vehicle to vehicle as well, because the dispatcher hears all that. She hears all the same traffic that's taking place. So that cost is just under $6,000. I thought I brought it up with me.
For the police?
For the police, it is $58.90, I believe.
You've got
Sure
to
I
start
have-
printing bigger.
Oh, here it is, $57.60. Yeah, I know. I know, I'm finding the same thing. So this is, that is one solution. They're all about the same pricing, and it just depends on the number of channels that you want to record and phone lines. But that is primarily a dispatch recorded thing. If the detectives wanted to record someone on a phone line with the new voice over IP system, they would be able to do that just by pressing a button, or it could be configured if there's a phone that, say, the public's using there, and if
So
they-
this could only be used for dispatch?
primarily for dispatch. It could be configured for other than dispatch, but the idea would be primarily for dispatch.
Couldn't he go after a grant, a Homeland Security grant for this money?
He's looking into it. He was seeing what is available, but
We have to appropriate the full amount in order
we would have
for...
to appropriate it anyway, yeah.
Do we know he's going after the grant for that?
I do not know that for certain. There's an annual cost to this as well, but it's something that the town has been asked for in prior investigations, and it seems as though it's something that we're lacking, that many PDs have.
How many PDs have this, do we know?
I do not know that answer.
Larger PDs.
I can see if I can find out.
You know, I mean, we hear that common phrase is other PDs have it, and we find out that it may be one or two, like Manchester or
Right.
Concord, and we're not a Manchester, we're not a Concord.
I wondered the same thing, I just don't know. But that is,
This, to me, seems that I would really like to see if there was a grant out there trying to find monies to appropriate during the year once we found the grant out there and we were sure that we had one available, then to go ahead and just appropriate and say, yeah, you can, and then not have the grant out there. I wouldn't want to be spending taxpayers' money for $6,000 so you can record the dispatcher.
well, the alternative is if the phone system has that capability, then you're really talking about radio communications. And in some respects, that office is very self-contained. I
Right.
mean, you would think that you could practically have a 24/7 recording running, and if the dispatcher needed to mute it for some reason, to call out to someone outside of that office, they could mute it or something, or stop it, and then, start it again. So, because you hear, if you're in that office, you hear all the radio traffic that's going on. So, obviously, that would not be as expensive a solution, but it may not be what they need. So this may require a little more homework.
Yep.
So that right now is not what's included in this here, correct?
There's $6,000
Included in here
there, yes.
for that?
Yep.
All right.
IT or police?
IT.
IT.
Some of the, I don't know what you want to look at next. If you want, the services ranges everything from copiers to the tax cards,
Those are contracts that we have, plus
contracts,
plus Avatar and all of that, right?
and allowing for services to be brought in. One of the things that I've budgeted for in this budget is a certain amount of cabling, free cabling. We have not the highest speed cabling in some of our locations, and some of it quite old. So by going to voice over IP, it's an opportunity to redo the cabling, which is what I've included some money in here for, one of our locations, to re-cable it. And in doing so, most of the voice over IP phones, and there's several selections that we can choose from, but most of them have 2 ports. So that you have one port coming in, and then you have a port coming out that would go to your computer. So in effect, it's almost a little hub, if you will. So you don't have to have 2 Ethernet lines coming from your server room into, each office. You can just, bring one in. But what it means, though, is it places even greater reliance and importance on having those be properly terminated, good quality, well-run, high-speed lines. And they're not all in that category right now. So I do have money in there for some recabling. And there's some really great outfits that do that work. But that's the time to do it with voice over IP. Otherwise, you run the risk of having new phones, new equipment, new lines, and a lousy string that goes between the phone and the outside world, and it will not
And then we have people saying, well, these phones don't work, and why did we pay so much money for these? Why we?
Yep, that's exactly right. And the plan, too, with the fiber piece is that each of the locations, primarily the PD and Town Hall, would be extensions off of one system, so that you can pick up here, dial 200 and get the chief, kind of thing. So that you're not necessarily taking up any kind of outside lines, you're not tying up other things, and you don't have to go through a person to get to them. You can just dial their extension. So that would be very nice. This particular voice over IP solution is, there are many types of ways of doing this. There are what are called hosted solutions, where you pay a certain amount of money per phone for each phone. So here we have 13 phones. The going rate at that sort of thing is about $25 a month. And so that would be more than what we're paying now for our current service. But what that gives you is everything handled by somebody else, providing you have a big enough pipe also. But everything handled by someone else. I opted not to go that route because it has a higher ongoing cost, whereas what we would have is essentially a rack-mounted server that is primarily, it's made for voice over IP communications. It's all web-based, so all the administration is web-based, the call groups, who's got what extension, all that is managed within these little servers, and there would be one here and one at the PD, and they would provide redundancy and backup for each other. So that's the route that I took with this. So we would have our own phones, and we would have these two little, I hate to really call them servers, technically they're servers, but they're appliances. They're,
So then how would Highway and Senior Center, would they just go off wirelessly to
no,
that?
we would set them up as static IP, and they would, there's a way, I believe, to set them up as an extension off of those. Alternatively, we would have them go voice over IP just as an independent thing, so they would still maintain their phone number, but it'd just be less cost per month. The challenge at the highway garage is they still maintain that they need a fax machine, and so we just have to make sure it is good enough quality to be able to handle fax, which with these units, they certainly are, but most of the consumer voice over IP market doesn't handle fax very well. Some do, but many don't. So we'd have to just find the right thing for the highway.
Highway, police.
Well, no, police would be on this other server type, and that
Would be-
works.
They would have their
Highway
own
needs a
service.
fax machine?
That's what they maintain.
Yeah,
that
they
require the
fax back and forth,
To who?
purchase orders,
purchase
parts,
orders,
that
pots,
sort of thing.
highway, asphalt.
That's because the highway department is not computer savvy. No one in there is computer savvy.
They do have. I have installed, and they've installed even their own parts lists and things like that. You know, they get a disc from a supplier, and most of those have the ability to order right from them or over the internet.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it just.
Do you know that, have any of you here ever received a email from Public Works?
I
have.
I have.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Well, then I'm the only one.
I have.
Yep.
I have.
Yep.
My impression was they could read the emails and not even respond to them.
Oh
No,
no.
No, they can.
I've asked for responses and didn't get them.
Maybe it's you, Joe.
And Dennis tells me that he's not real big on that. He sees
He is
them.
not, that's true, that is a true statement.
And there's nobody there who's a
But he does do
computer
it.
person.
Well, he has people that are comfortable with computers, but the control that he maintains is that's for primarily his use. Arthur uses it some, and then they use it also for weather in the wintertime. So, yeah. But no, they have the capability of doing that. I think Dennis's thing is that if he starts sending people email, he's going to get a lot more email in return.
right.
So
And he doesn't want...
pretty much is what he's told me.
Right.
So he's very sparing.
And if you're going
And then
to
a
send
certain
him an
amount of
email-
hours in a day are answering just emails,
Right.
when he could be out there doing the actual work.
Right.
And it's been my experience, if you're going to send him an email that says something, you need to call him up and say, Dennis, I just sent you an email, please respond.
Yeah.
You know, because otherwise he doesn't look.
Yeah.
You know, say, oh, you sent me an email, when did you do that? So,
Yep.
All right, so
Okay, so what I'll do is,
you're going to make some changes to
I'm going
this.
to make some changes, and I'm also going to see about getting some answers on the things that you've asked for.
okay.
And then maybe, Joe, as you have more information, you know, or we
I'll
get...
let you know what
Yeah.
happens after the 5th.
I mean, it's going to mean the difference of about $5,000. It's going to cost us $5,000 more, which will
To
you know,
lay that
extend out
fiber
our
ourselves.
Well, it'll extend out our payback on voice over IP. So it's not the end of the world, but it's not great either. You know.
Right.
So-
Do we have the property liability and workman's comp? So that, we don't have those yet. So we can't really vote on that. Administration.
The police budget, there have been no changes other than what you asked me to, or what I was asked to change prior to last week. The only thing that I'm aware of that they did receive an increase in recently, they were notified that their uniform cleaning is going to go up. But no one has told me if that's going to mean a huge increase for them.
Okay.
It looks like they're pretty much on track to spend
Highway or
what they
police?
budgeted.
Or both?
I'm sorry, police.
Yeah.
Police uses Henry's.
Now, are there any things out there that you're aware of that have not been covered yet, that are going to pop up after the budget's been approved? That, oh, I need this, we've got to have this. I mean, we've all talked to them, but it seems like every year we get slammed to the big one. Right?
The chief has talked about body cameras.
Yes, right.
And when he and I talked, originally he was thinking about maybe 7, and when he and I talked, we were thinking maybe more like 2 or 3, because they can be assigned to each frontline car. And just have a different SD card that would go in, but they're essentially just a camera that would sit on their vest
Best, right.
and record
Yep.
audio and video that way.
But it has to go, it doesn't go on the front line, it has to go on the specific vest,
Well-
and they are all individual.
Well, I
Yes.
think they can attach to any vest. In other words, the camera is supposed to be able to
Okay.
come off and clip on. I think it's just a clip-on sort of thing.
Okay.
So he was thinking that could possibly work. He was a little apprehensive about going whole hog, and they're about $700 a piece, so he didn't want to, get 7 or 10 of them without really seeing how this was going to work. So I don't believe that's in here anywhere. He'd be looking at $700 or $1,400, and he did mention to me he was going to look and see whether and I can't remember, I think it's Highway Safety Grant, maybe it was available for that.
Yep.
I think that was Officer Safety. I don't recall exactly which grant, but he did seem to think that there was the possibility of having that partially funded. He was going to check on that.
Okay.
That's one. The only other thing that I'm aware of is that, and this is just one of those things you have to look at other towns around you. Samberton spends roughly about $36,000 on a cruiser when they outfit it. And they get new console, they get, everything is done for that cruiser, I think, when they purchase it, 36 or 38,000, something like that. What we have typically done is, we get the cruiser and we piece whatever we can piece from a prior cruiser onto that. Of course, the difference between the Crown Vic model and the police interceptors necessitated, the cages not coming forward, things like that.
Right.
But, we do have one light bar right now, but I've been told the light bar is about a foot too wide for the police interceptor. So, from a liability standpoint, that probably wouldn't be a real great thing.
No, I don't think so.
So I guess the only thing in the back of my mind is, are we really budgeting enough money for the cars, or are we really restricting their ability to outfit them properly? And the only reason I bring that up is that since I've been in a number of these cruisers for a lot of time, and the console equipment, you can tell is very aged. And some of the stuff is pretty expensive too. The controls that control the lights and everything else in the car. So that's really the only thing I can think of is other PDs around us budget more money for the cruiser.
So they said, you
Than we do.
mentioned $38,000?
I'd have to look. I mean, I'm just sort of off the top of my head, I remember
Okay,
hearing...
off the top of your head, what does an outfitted cruiser in Tilton cost?
We've been doing about, I think, 29, 30, somewhere in there.
And then how much do we spend on top of that? Or is that the outfitted cruiser?
Well, I mean, you just have to remember when you're getting the cruiser of, say, 24,000, then you're getting the extended warranty, that's another 1,500 or 1,600. Then on top of that, there's the striping, there's the this, there's the that, before you even get to the interior of the vehicle, and whether you're going to paint it, or do any,
So
is it a...
29 grand buys us the shell.
Well, the shell plus.
It's colored and
Plus.
everything else.
Yeah.
and-
Right.
But as far as the equipment, we try to move it from one to the other.
We do.
Doesn't
and
have it doesn't have the radio, it doesn't have the lights.
the radios
So
are...
how much is that, a
radios-
finished cruiser in Tilton?
You have to add another 4,000 to 6,000 onto
It
that.
depends on what we have available, I
Right.
think. The radios are very expensive. Those are, I think, 3,000 or 4,000, maybe more. I'm really not the right one to ask, but I'm just looking at it to answer Sandy's question. As it relates to other communities around us, it seems, we make do with what we've got. But at some point, what we've got is going to have to be replaced. How many cars can you keep moving this stuff through? I just don't know.
And it fits better if you get
If
it.
we save $10,000 over the course of 5 cars, and then we have to replace it, oh well, as opposed to replacing it every single time.
Right, but we don't budget for it. We never budget for it, I don't think.
Oh, maybe.
I think we assume we're going to be able to cobble it together.
Yeah.
And they've been very successful in doing that. I mean, to their credit, they've really been very resourceful and...
But isn't there a room problem now because you're adding on instead of having it pre-built?
Well, I may not be the right one to ask on that, but I have seen officers get into the interceptors. They have to take their hats off, because
Yeah.
yeah, and even more so for me. It's a tight space. So that's a good question. I think the new ones are made.
Yes?
I'm back. Can you or Sandy pick up?
I will. I'll get it.
The new ones are made for the interceptors, and these are older, more, I don't want to say clunkier, but they're
yes, we're just-
they were made for Crown Vics, I think.
So that gives the officers more room within the cars, in addition.
I've not seen one, but I would have to imagine it would.
Okay.
But anyway, that's just off the top of my head. I'm thinking that
All right.
that's the only thing I can think of.
Brian Locke is here. Would you like her to send him up?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
So anyway, all right, well, I'll see what I can do to get some answers for your next week meeting. Do you think you'll be looking at some of the budget information on Tuesday? You do, okay.
I'm hoping to.
Okay. I'll see what I can do with that then.
All right. Well, thank you for your input.
Yep.
We've got some of it cleared up.
The last thing that I did want to bring up,
MS5.
the MS5, which we have to have for our tax rate. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any on it.
I looked at it, and I thought you did an excellent job. I had no issues.
Okay, great.
I second that.
And I can tell you, I did get some preliminary figures from the fire district. Even though our percentage went down, our dollars are going to go up.
The budget's going up, like that?
Budget was up, and then also, when you look at our assessed value versus Northfield's, theirs went down, ours went up. So the percentage that we went down was counterbalanced by the equalized value.
Surprise, surprise, right?
Yep. So, it is what it is. We will probably, once I have that off to DRA, they'll be able to arrange a date, so I'll let you know.
Okay,
More than likely, that'll be within the next week.
all right.
So,
Well, you have 4, the only one that didn't sign is Al.
I'll send it down tomorrow, even with the 4, because, or tonight, because that way they'll at least give us a date,
Right.
and then we'll go from there, so. Great, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Happy Halloween.
And happy Halloween to you.
We're gonna go into
Don't eat
non-public.
too much candy, Hannah.
All right, I would, at this time, go into make a motion to go into non-public as per RSA 91A:3, matters which matters if discussed in public would adversely affect the reputation of one.
Second?
Roll call vote.
Yes?
Yes, yes. Okay. Okay, we're read.
Make a motion that we seal the minutes of the non-public session permanently.
Roll call vote.
Yes?
Yes. Did you get Sandy's? Yes. Okay, we have a request for the Tilton United Methodist Church would like permission to have the church choir sing Christmas carols during the tree lighting ceremony coming up, and would like us to call back. I think it's an excellent idea. It's a wonderful thing.
Well, wait a minute.
I think we should probably pass it along to the Parks Commission.
I think we should pass it, well, it's not a park.
The Park Commission is in charge of the
Tree lighting?
Tree lighting, yeah.
Okay, then definitely should go to the Parks Commission. I'm wondering about that whole potential church and state thing, nativity scenes, religious music at the tree lighting. Is there I'm still going to vote yes, but is there a possibility that somebody's going to throw a
I have no
burning
idea.
chestnut down my pants here?
I have no idea. I'll yell. Look out, Joe!
Watch out, Joe.
We'll have the water ready, Joe.
I'll
Yes.
have my asbestos underwear on.
We'll have water ready for you.
Okay.
All right, so Catherine, this be passed to the Parks Commission and make sure that we pass it along to Bob and Catherine. So you can take it out of my folder. All right. Do you need to talk to us? Public?
Make a motion, well, no, I don't know
Go ahead.
the exact paragraph.
All right.
It's probably the effective
Matters, if
patient one,
wish,
but...
just, right here, this matters was, just, you want me to do it? Oh, I thought you were going to do it.
No, go ahead.
Okay, we're going to skip around the agenda here and make a motion to enter into non-public session per RSA 91A:3, C, matters which if discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Yes,
Yes.
I beat you to it. Yes.
you did. You make a closing door, or is this gonna take more than a few?
We're red.
Joyce, you're up if,
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
Do you want to make a motion to seal those minutes?
Oh, yes. Make a motion to seal the minutes as they pertain to personnel? No,
matters which discussed in public,
yeah, matters which discussed in public would be detrimental to a person's
reputation.
reputation, permanently.
Second. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
This looks worse than it is. 16 Prospect Street, just a status report.
Okay.
I spoke with, is this on? Yeah.
You hear her, Catherine?
Can you hear me? Yes. If I talk like this? Okay, I spoke with the, Pat had taken a tag off the furnace.
Joe took that in the, go ahead. Joe
Okay.
did it.
I was able to speak with the individual, and he explained the situation on, we're just trying to get an assessment as to whether or not the burner, if the furnace is operable, and should we get it repaired, and whether or not we're going to heat the house or winterize it. And he said that, one, the furnace needs replacement. There are leaks everywhere. The individuals had a number of frozen pipes. There's no way, he's been in there a number of times to help to unfreeze pipes, but there's improper insulation in the basement. He said that it would, that the burner, even if there were, if it was properly closed up, the burner would need service, and there have just, over the years, been many frozen pipes. One of the things is he put a lot of mixed antifreeze with water, and over the years, that's evaporated, so even if we were going to get it all tightened up or whatever, we'd still have to put more antifreeze in. So his suggestion was to not do that, to get the pipes drained and don't heat it. Also, the cost of heating it, let alone just repairing the furnace and buttoning it up and checking pipes, the cost to heat it, even if you kept it really low, would be...
There's 2 oil tanks in the basement that are conjoined. Neither one of them has anything in it, so there's no
That's true.
oil either.
Right, that's correct. She had told us that. I had also, in the meantime, spoken with the individual who services our burner, 'cause we're due for him to come in and check ours for the heating season, and he said he would be willing to go take a look at it. He does not charge for any assessment. So if you'd like to have a second opinion, he can go in and give you a second opinion at no charge.
I think I don't even need a second opinion.
No, it doesn't sound like it. It sounds pretty...
After I went down there,
dismal.
Pat and I both went down there, we looked all around, we were searching for the tag, which ended up being at the top of the cellar stairs.
Yep.
But
That was very helpful, thank you.
The water is you can see where it's leaking. It's leaking at the junction of the furnace itself. There's rusted parts, rusted pipes, obvious water intrusion problems. Further than that, the roof has a main beam in it that it's literally at an angle like this. There's a board that's holding up the right-hand side of the roof as you look at it. The back shingles are such that the entire back side of that roof, you could see where the water came in, and then it went down through the insulation, because it is insulated. There's a bedding insulation. It has been soaked through, and there's water damage in the ceiling, there's water damage on the walls.
Maybe we should just tear down the whole house and sell the lot.
No, because we'd have to pay to tear it down. I'll let somebody else tear it down. At one time, that was a very nice house, but it has not been maintained, and it's just like a brick. It's a brick.
Yeah, the ceilings
I
in
wouldn't
that
take it
place.
as a gift. If you gave it to me, I would
Right.
walk away.
Oh, thank you.
Also, while this was going on, I called the plumber that we have used to winterize other property in the past and who's done some work here, so I've got certificate of insurance and W-9 for him.
Thinking, Joyce.
And left a message for him. He has not called me back yet. I was going to call one other plumber just to get an estimate. But either way,
Bring
they
a
would,
mask.
before they could really tell me what it would cost, I'm sure they want to just take a look at it, because I remember with the other property we had, they said, I had 3 estimates, and all 3 of them wanted to run up and take a look at it.
Right.
before they would give me a quotation. So that would mean someone would have to take them through the building.
Well, I have a new supply of masks, so I don't like going in, but
So,
it's
I will-
bad in there.
Okay, so just so you understand that someone will have to go in there if the board decides that's what they want to do.
Well, you can't go in anymore.
I don't think I'm going in even with a mask. I was so adversely affected.
No, it really knocked you out.
And then the other thing is, I spent last Friday quite a bit of time on the phone and doing research. Salvation Army, Goodwill, and I want to say St. Vincent de Paul. I don't know why I have a hard time with that. Wealth of information on their websites as to what they do and do not take. Spent quite a bit of time talking with Salvation Army. And they confirmed what they had on the website was the same as the others, is that they do not go in and pick through things, that people call them and tell them what they have. And if people cannot deliver things themselves, then their driver will go out and pick them up, but their driver has say as to whether or not they will take it or not. They would not go through, and they only want things that could be resold, that are marketable and clean.
I think that leaves them out.
I mean, if we got it to that point, we could do that if you wanted, to make sure that it was going to someone, but
But that place is still packed to the rafters.
Well, I would like to make a proposal on while we're talking about that. The crafts or toys, I would like to get in touch with Jim Doan at the Pines and have him come and pick that up, and that would make a positive into a negative.
Right.
If there's something that I see that would be of a huge benefit to the senior center, let me add that in too. I'm not sure what, but they do a lot of that up there too. But
for crafts.
But 99.99% of it will go to the Pines, and there's quite a bit of it. And if I make arrangements and take the key, and Jim and I go over and load up vehicles and take it over, that would lessen a burden on the financial end of it and help others on that and make a negative into a positive there. So I'm not sure how the board feels about that, but that would empty at least 3, maybe 4 rooms.
Right.
Which would be helpful, and then you've eliminated a lot of the possibilities, and then it would be clothes and things like that you'd have to score through. I don't know how you would do that.
Well, and also upstairs, I mean, a lot of it is paper and boxes that can be recycled. I mean, so say there was someone coming in to remove everything, at least they could recycle that, and then they'd only be paying for what needed to actually be
If that was
incinerated.
part of the arrangement beforehand,
Right.
to get somebody to pick through to take out the recyclables.
But we really need someone that's going to go in and clean the place out.
Yeah, there's a lot of food, a lot of evidence of rodents.
Yes. I would
Sooner
say-
than later, and, I mean, they're still going to get
Rodents are
in.
right there with lawyers in my world.
Yeah, I mean, there's still going to be intrusion because it's not
Hey, that's a good
that's
analogy.
secure. I mean, there's still, but I think that we owe it to, just to be good citizens, that we would want to have all the food and those things removed. I think once you really got down to it, like you said, the craft things,
Yep.
huge part of it, and
Yep.
and what's left, I really don't think that there'd be,
Well,
it's just a matter of disposal.
right, I think if we get the crafts out of there, like the one room, I mean, every drawer we open, we're
Brand new.
brand new,
Yeah,
still in
things
their
still wrapped,
packets. Yes, and a stack of construction paper like this, and, and in all these different places, so
There were a lot of coats. I don't know if you...
the coat closet is full of
There's
coats.
There's several closets.
And
there were
there's-
things hanging up in those closets.
Yes.
Which would all have to be thoroughly cleaned, but they looked like they were totally serviceable, and I hate to see somebody go cold this winter
And all
for
the-
lack of a coat and burn those.
Well, I'm sure that if it was such that, all the coats or all the clothes were, we thought, I mean, they would come and look at it, but Goodwill, or any of them.
But I guess the
But-
problem that I'm having is you don't want to get people that are going to go in and say, well, I don't want any of this, but I'll take this and I'll take this. I mean, we could go on for months that
Right.
way. We really need to find someone that will come in and empty the house when we say go in and empty it. And, it will be up to them. This is recyclable, this
Right,
I can
that's how they do
sell,
it.
but
And
they have to do
they
it.
pay the disposal cost
Right.
But they figured that into their...
into their fee. Now, I had contacted 3 people. One does it for local banks when they're getting ready to sell. He's not called me back.
You might know the house.
Well, he's local, and then
Call her back.
one that does this professionally for realtors. And then the other was the gentleman that's on his, on his own business, his own.
Does he have lots of help?
I told him he could only have help if they could prove that they were independent contractors and had insurance certificates, or he had to have workers' comp insurance on his.
Well, I'm just going by the fact that Pat and I, and yourself, and this lady and her sister were in there with just one list, and look at how long it took. And that was just for that list. And, part of the problem is like the sister is going through stuff looking for other things, and she's just flinging stuff she doesn't want. So the pile on the floor is getting deeper and deeper. But we were there all day long.
It was just a new pile.
And so what I'm getting at is if it's just one individual or even a couple, it's going to take them a long time to empty that house.
I think we need a professional company to come in there,
Yes.
take it out, clean it.
Get it
Take it
out.
out.
Right,
Yeah.
and now, the one that does this for the realtors,
Yeah.
he can come in, and they all have to take a look at it, because
Yeah.
they've got to see it before they prepare their
Bid on it,
quotation.
certainly.
I can
And,
see it now.
the way they've described it to me sounds like it's a professional, like they go to Best Way, they rent the dumpsters,
Yeah.
they put everything in it, it's broom clean, and it's
I know this
gone.
is going to cost us money, but ultimately, the property being redeveloped and put on the tax rolls will pay for itself, even if the sale price of the house does not.
Well, I like your optimism
So I
there.
guess,
Well, I don't think we could ever recoup our money, but at least the property is fixed up and it goes back on the tax rolls ultimately.
so my recommendation would be is that the board let me proceed with getting at least one other estimate for
Yep.
draining the pipes.
Yep.
Secondly, to have, to go along with repurposing the crafts and the toys, and I'll be more than
Yes.
happy to help
If
No.
I can get,
support that.
if I can get in touch with him tonight or tomorrow, is the board okay with doing that within the next few days?
I'll help.
It may
Call
work
me up,
into
I'll
Monday or
help.
Tuesday, but
Well, it won't
Well, if he
help,
can
but
do it
you
this
have my total support.
weekend, I can try and get like Thomas and, to help.
Does he have allergies to mold and mildew?
Joyce,
and-
I'm here to tell you that if he has any kind of issues like that, I won't go in that house again.
Well, I'm thinking maybe on the
Without
other end.
anybody going in
On the
that
other end
house.
of the Pines, unloading, carrying things. My problem is
okay.
it's going up and down stairs
yeah,
and
if you
stuff.
could
is what
leave him
kills
on
me.
the other end and
Yeah,
there, but
that's true.
I can, I
mean,
have
if they
allergies
had-
to that, but I do an inhaler before I come and
Yeah.
take
Well,
my
that's what I
medicine,
did
I'm
last
fine.
time, and when I went home, I did it all again. I got in the shower, I washed everything off of me, and then I went downstairs and took some more allergy pills to...
I just go home and go to bed. So, and then the third thing would be to let me go ahead and get at least these 2 people that are interested in bidding on cleaning out, let them get in and take a look at it.
So,
I
so
can have something for you.
the first thing, if it's okay with the board, to go ahead with the Pines and...
I make a
and
motion that we offer it to the Pines, and if that's what they want to do, I'd be
little bit
more
to
than
the senior
happy.
center.
Yeah, and a little bit to the senior center, for the use of all the people that go there, and the Pines for the children, and I'll even volunteer to help you when it comes time to boxing this stuff up.
Okay. I'll second that. All those in
Yes.
favor? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. And so then you're going to get an estimate on draining again?
pipes,
And
yeah.
then as soon as we finish getting what we want out of there for crafts and things like that, to donate to the Pines and the, I don't even know if they wanted it at the senior center, but I put that in. But in the senior center,
Some
there might
things.
be some things, but,
What about the candle making kits?
right.
I could see the seniors,
Doing that.
Yeah.
Then you're going to get, you can continue now to get estimates,
Yeah.
but you don't want to bring them in until we get all the crafts out, because it would be cheaper.
Right,
Right.
right. I mean, as
You're
soon
going to have
as,
3, 4, and there's toys upstairs in that room
right.
that the Pines probably would take for the kindergarten.
Like that big kitchen set stuff?
Right,
Yeah, why wouldn't they want it? The kids will play with that.
right.
well, then, the main thing then is me getting the plumbers in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got to get that
And then
taken
and then I'm trying to get 3 estimates.
care. Okay.
I
Shouldn't cost more than $500 to blow out those pipes and put in antifreeze, should it?
I wouldn't think so, but we don't know. You know,
If
what?
it's less than $500, I would just have them go do it.
Yeah. But
Joy?
that's, I mean, I'm all for that.
Yeah,
that's
move
fine.
forward.
Yeah, let's
And
move
that's one thing
forward.
off our list, and we
Yeah.
can move forward.
No, that's fine. And if it's not over if it's under 500, you don't need 3 estimates. If you get someone that you feel is good and will do it right,
Yep.
Okay,
And
and
he-
then,
then
as
do-
far as
go
these other
forward.
gentlemen, because they keep calling, and I keep saying, well, we'll talk about it with the board.
Yeah.
If I set up a time late next week, towards the end of next week,
yep, good.
will that give us enough time to have them go in and
Why
look?
don't you excuse yourself and go call and see if you can get a hold of Jim and get an idea when he can want to do it, and that way we can finish setting up.
Or, I mean, I can wait
Yeah,
another
we'll do
week.
that.
We can wait another week.
Well, yeah, but if we can get him in there next week to look around
Yeah,
and,
because I'm not going to be around.
you know, to give us some ideas of...
To have Jim
Yeah.
come in and look, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
well,
that's a good idea.
If he can come in and get this done the next couple days, then next week is open for you, if you can get them in to look.
Okay.
Catherine, can you go downstairs and get me the Jim's telephone number?
I have it.
Oh, you do? All right, write it down.
Shoot it to you.
All right, shoot it to my phone.
But, you know, that way, because, you know, she can talk to him, and if he can do it in the next couple of days, hey, why not? Then that gives you all of next week, you can, you know, have these people in. Because I'm sure you're just like the rest of us, let's get this act on the road and get it out of our hair.
Yeah, we gotta move on. The other thing I'll do is I'll summarize the information that I obtained from the 3
Okay.
Goodwill and all that, just so that we have on record, so
Right.
people know that we
Right.
have done our due diligence.
Yes, good. It would seem to me like, you know, like we saw in the kitchen, all that food,
It's gotta go.
that's got to just go to the garbage. Just throw it away. You don't know what's been in it. And, you know, you're afraid to go too much into the box because there might be rats in there. You don't know. I mean, it's just awful.
I think we need to take the chief in there.
You would be horrified.
Yeah, you don't want to go there.
I mean, I don't want any more delays. We've got a plan.
Move forward.
Move forward.
Yes.
Forward, okay?
I don't want to be spending next spring.
Yeah.
When are we going to be finished with this?
Right, now, the other thing I have not done yet was, because, to see about getting someone to go in and do an inspection of the building. I do have that one individual that was interested. I was supposed to be calling banks to find out who they use. I just ran out of time, so I'll continue to do that, because
Okay.
that still could be an option, but I think that's further down the list
Yeah.
of things to do.
I think right now, if we can get everything set up as far as getting that place emptied out, that will go a long ways. Because there's rooms that you can't even get in to see because there's so much stuff in them. You know, and it's like, upstairs, there's bedrooms there that are packed to the rafters, and it says, "Do not put anything else in this room." I was gonna say, where would they put it? I mean, so,
All right, so nonprofits. Okay. So I'll find out from this individual that we have been using
Okay.
on the draining the pipes, and if
Okay.
he feels that it would be under 500, I'll just go with him. If
Yep.
if he thinks it would be more than that because it's 2 floors and
Yeah.
the basement, then
I mean, maybe it is, maybe he would charge more, but we won't know until you get an idea from him. But, the same rule applies that we do with all of our department heads. If it's under 500, go for it.
Okay, and if it isn't, I'll get...
Right, right.
All right, so this will give me a second to get a little more organized here.
Yeah. That's fine, she's coming back up, so.
Did you get accounts payable yet?
No,
No?
no.
Joe, this is your confirmation for your conference.
Oh, thank you.
And they just sent me the invoice. I went ahead and processed the, for the payment without the invoice. I just got the invoice. I wanted to slip it in with the checks, but we don't have it.
NRA, yeah.
He said he'd try and get it up to us, but otherwise we'll come by Monday and sign it, or tomorrow.
You gotta be here tomorrow anyway,
Yeah,
for the transportation.
yeah, I'm coming tomorrow, for the meeting on hazard conditions and stuff, what is that called?
Oh, hazard mitigation?
Yeah, hazardous mitigation plan. We're meeting here tomorrow at 1:30. What time are you meeting?
Transportation,
What time?
I don't recall.
Oh,
I'll let you know in a second.
okay.
I think it's 10 o'clock, but
10 o'clock? Well, I'm not here until 1:30, so I figured we should have a free run at it. There's not too many things that meet on Fridays.
Yeah, what they said is the reason why they're selective, this is going back to the Goodwill and those
Yep.
other, they have to be selective about what they pick up because it costs them to throw it away.
yeah, they have to pay the tonnage
Yeah.
at the incinerator too.
But I guess what I want to avoid is getting involved with people that are going to go in there, pick through and take what they want, and leave the rest of the stuff there.
Right, and they have a whole list of things that they don't accept.
Yes. So, and right now, the place is in such a mess, how do you determine, how will they even know whether they're going to take it or not when you can't get to all of it?
And they're not
Because of-
gonna go fishing.
Yes.
They're not gonna go fishing.
So-
I think removing the toys and/or the
Yep.
craft stuff,
Yep.
totally good, totally, we know where it is. and-
Right, there's 3 rooms right there that are concentrated with nothing but those things. There's 1 room upstairs of all these toys and the kitchen set and stuff like that. That can easily be taken out.
The kitchen is full of that stuff too, in those cupboards above the sink area and stuff.
Oh,
So
I know.
All sorts of paints and.
Yes, paints and,
Then there's the craft room.
yes. Well, even the bedroom that had been the daughter's is a craft room as well. But I have never, she must have found closeouts or something, because I've never seen such a collection of things that were bought, and she hadn't even taken them out of the packages yet. Yeah. If she had one tablet, like a spiral notebook, with paper in it, there was one, there must have been 300 of them.
Yeah.
And little scribble, there must have been, well, we must have put about 300 of them just in a box. I mean, it's just,
There's all that stuff down cellar in those plastic tubs that,
oh, I know.
the tubs themselves are actually nice tubs, the stuff inside it,
Yeah,
horror show.
it is.
Maybe while we're waiting for Pat, I could just give you, when I was downstairs, the phone rang, and I answered it because today's the deadline for Donna to submit the application for the feasibility study grant, so it's been this mad scramble to get all the documents together, and I am
Yep.
pleased to report that all the documents, we got everything.
Oh,
We met
wonderful.
the deadline, so,
Great.
so
And that's on
Gaslight Village.
Gaslight, good. I'm glad that they're moving forward.
It was a mad scramble, but anyway, so that's why I answered the phone in case it was her. But then I did pick it up, and 2 residents from Daniel Drive
Yep.
called, very irate. I have their names, but if you want
Yep.
them, I'll give them to you. But they watched the Best Way truck pick up their purple bags and take their recycling bins and dump them in the same back of the dumpster of the truck. And he was so outraged, he went out and looked to see, well, maybe there's a separator.
No separator.
And there wasn't. I said, thank you so much for calling. I said, I'll bring this to the attention of the selectmen immediately, and we will follow up. This happened at 355 on
Why
Daniel
are they
Drive, and I'll
doing
give you
that?
the names. So,
Please give me the names so that I can call the people that have a chance of fixing this.
Yeah.
There have been a number of issues not unlike that one. It was attributed to driver error. I'll say error because that's a good way of putting it, I guess. But the better way of saying it is, these guys are just freaking incompetent. And I've mentioned it to Mr. Tweedy on a couple of occasions. And I will forcefully once again mention this to Mr. Tweedy.
and these are 2 reputable people.
I don't even care if they're disreputable people. That's got nothing to do with the driver not knowing from a hole in the ground. This is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable.
All right, I will write this up, and I'll email it to you.
Please do.
It may be too late to call now. I don't know how late their office is.
I'm sure it is.
Well, I have his cell number.
As do I.
Okay.
I'll be calling him during business hours. He can't do anything about it right now, but tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., I'm sure he can do something.
That's too bad. I mean,
And you
why
have
are we
email-
doing...
Do you have email or phone numbers for the individuals who made the call to you, Joyce?
No, I do not.
That's too bad, because I would love to be able to get in touch with them to let them know what I find out.
You have a phone number for them?
No, but I can go look it up.
Well, that's all right. When you're going to send me an email, if you could add that information, that would be great.
And I'd have to look at the tax cards to tell you the other person's name.
It's hard to get people. I don't know this individual, but I got a feeling I'll be talking to him.
Yep.
It's not brain surgery, but good Lord. Purple bags, recycling. This went in the recycle truck or in the MSW truck? Did he dump recycling in the MSW truck?
The MSW truck's got the little things?
No.
No?
That's the recycle
I
truck.
mean, that's the recycle truck. He didn't say.
He didn't say what...
That might be, if they threw it in the back of the truck, then it was MSW, and the guy emptied the
It sounded like it was
recycling.
going in the back.
Well, that just means that the regular MSW guy dumped the containers, and I told that guy, instruct all your individuals that they don't pick up anything that's not in a purple bag. So if they emptied those recycle containers into an MSW truck,
Right, because they pick the recyclables up separately from the
Right.
purple bags.
absolutely in a different truck.
Yeah.
Right.
First
If
one
they-
truck comes out, then the other truck.
I have a question, an interesting theoretical question. Failure to comply with the terms of the contract is upon proper notice, reason to terminate the contract, isn't it?
Right, but you do have to give them an opportunity to correct it.
Well, I've already given them one.
And if it
2, I
costs
take it
money to
back.
correct it, then they have to pay for that.
It
If
doesn't,
my
it's not
memory
going to
serves me
cost them
correctly.
a nickel. All you have to do is have somebody that knows a purple bag from a non-purple bag.
Right.
Apparently, there's color blind issues, but
Just
I'm
putting
being
clear
real kind,
recycling
Joyce.
bin.
Well, what about the recycling bin? It says recycling on it, it's their bin.
All I want to say is, what I really want to say about this is that I can't really say what I want to say about this.
Okay. I
Because
understand.
the language I would use.
I
and the
understand.
insinuations I would make.
Kind of like the definition she gave us before, right?
That is correct. And sympathy, I think was the
Yeah.
second one, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, then.
Did you want me to just go on with just some general stuff?
Yep, go ahead.
No, okay, on Sellers, just so you know, I did send him a letter.
Okay.
Dear Mr. Sellers, on October 27th, you handed Selectman Patricia Constantino a copy of RSA 43, hearings before town or certain other local officers, and attached with copies of various communications pertaining to New Hampshire DES, to a New Hampshire DES dredge and fill application. The board has reviewed and discussed these documents, however, it is unclear to them as to what it is you are asking the board to do. It would be most helpful if you would please put your request in writing addressed to the Board of the Selectmen. In this way, the board will be able to give your specific concerns their full attention and provide you with a formal response. Sincerely, me, and then copy of the Board of Selectmen.
Excellent.
And then this I'll hold for when Pat's here. Oh, on snow storage, I had been in touch with, when was the last time?
Yeah, how's that coming? I was going to ask about that.
Let's see, February 11th.
Seems it was snowing yesterday, I think.
Oh, I know, and I was getting worried. I guess I didn't, my phone contacts, I keep track on another form, but,
Yep.
so anyway, I did send an email yesterday, October 29th, just saying, just following up for the selectmen, have you had an opportunity yet to prepare the contract agreement for the use of your snow storage area? Because she had told me that it would have to go before governor and council, but not to worry.
Yeah.
So, and then on Wednesday, yesterday, she responded, she said, "Hi Joyce, the MOU or MOA that I've been able to find, they are too long and cannot be crafted to fit our situation. Do you have some standard format that you usually use? If you do, please send me in a Word document and I will run it by my office. Thanks for your assistance." So before I did that, I took a look at our agreement that we have currently with the Winnipesaukee River Basin Project, which are for projects that are under $2,500, which is still pretty long and involved.
Yeah.
But I thought probably the best thing to do would be I can adapt our use agreement that we currently have, that was written by Dan Crean, for the use of the parking lot.
Right. Yeah, what if you send her a draft of that?
Well, that's what I was saying. I was going to, so just
Yeah.
with your,
Seems simple, yeah.
okay. And I'll do that before I leave today.
Okay.
And
No,
then
that
I've
seems-
also just brought this to Tim's attention, and to let him know, because he wants to review all contracts. He said, yeah, that's what he would do, too. So so if anybody asks you,
Yep.
I promise I'll get this done today.
Okay.
Please.
I'm almost done. And then we'd go trick or treat.
Yes. She said we'd be out of here by 5. We're pushing.
Well, we still have
Dressing up,
selectmen.
Joyce?
No.
No?
No, what I have to do today is the absolute deadline
To get a hold
to
of
get
her?
my quarterly
Tomorrow
earnings
afternoon?
report to the EPA in.
What time?
Which I can do, but it's playing with a lot of
I have-
numbers, and
I
I
have
have
an
to wait
appointment
till
here at
everybody's
the town
gone,
hall
because I've got this
At
mega
1:30, but it
spreadsheet.
usually only an hour.
I wanted to have it
I
done
don't
gonna
know.
by
go right after
5,
that.
but as long as it's dated
It's
today,
like
it's fine.
12:30,
Okay.
tomorrow afternoon.
Yep.
Bob's going to get some people to help, and
Okay.
Bob Cormier,
Oh,
and I'll be there. So
And I'll
before
come
I
as
leave
soon as
tonight,
I'm
will you give
done.
me the keys?
As soon as I'm done here, I'll come over and help.
okay.
Over,
Prospect, yeah. Well,
We got it.
understand.
no,
We got
I'm
it.
not going in the house, but what I'm saying is that depending on who he gets to go in there, it's a health liability. It has been for me, very
Yeah, I was like
specifically.
petrified with that little girl that was in there.
Yeah.
And she was sick.
I can bring, I
Yeah.
can just,
Why don't we pick up a thing of masks for
It
people
can't
to wear.
hurt. I would definitely like to see some precautions taken.
Gloves, plastic gloves.
Plastic gloves,
Dust, mold.
yes. We'll pick up a box of plastic gloves
Mildew.
I can,
and masks.
I have a whole box of plastic gloves.
We have gloves downstairs.
yeah, we have gloves
Yeah.
here. Masks, I
Don't
can,
have.
Billy has them.
Yeah, either that or if
Can
we
you
get
get
out
some
of...
masks in the morning?
Well, I've got the credit card. I'll go get them.
That way, everybody's got a mask where we don't have to think, because I think we all had the same problem. You were coughing and
He's going to get in
snorting.
touch with me noon 30.
Okay,
And then Bob and I, and if it's not raining, I can bring my trailer.
well,
I do have my Explorer. We can put the back seats down and have that space.
because it's not necessarily rain tomorrow, but high winds. So that's going to be an issue as far as using your trailer. Unless
put a
you can
top
seal
down.
the,
What
you
you put
know,
in it, and how much there is of that paint and
yeah.
what have you.
I mean,
You bring your truck
she
with
get in
you
touch with
tomorrow? He's going to
We
bring
have an
his...
Explorer at the police department,
Yes,
don't
I
we?
did
is
talk with
good.
him.
Okay.
Or is that a command vehicle during the
He's
next shift
excited.
vehicle?
All right.
Just a couple more things.
She's almost done.
Almost done. The repairs to the ceiling in the, at the Tilton Senior Center, I did meet with Brian this afternoon. He did remove the panel and the insulation, and when he came to return the key, I called Tim Crowley, and we were on speakerphone, so they were able to talk, which was good. They still don't really have an idea of where the water's coming from, but Brian is going to be, I sent an email on this, I already forgot, 9 o'clock tomorrow or Monday? 9 o'clock on Monday, he's going to come here, first to the town hall. Brian said that he had tried to keep the panel in one piece because Tim wanted to look at it. He said, Joyce, the thing just crumbled. So he put it in a heavy-duty black plastic trash bag.
Yeah.
And so I asked him to just put it down in our basement over to the left of the stairs, so when Tim comes here, he can take a look at it. And then from there, Dennis will take it and dispose of it. And then, so Monday, if one of you folks, I sent you an email, if you can meet him down there. Monday, he'll just poke his head up there, and then as soon as he pokes his head up there, then Brian has to come back and just put in insulation and screw it, but he's not going to tape it or anything, just so we can keep an eye on it for a
Right.
while.
When on Monday, do you know?
9 o'clock, a little after 9.
I can't.
What about the bill?
Who opens on Monday?
This isn't going to exceed the approved
Oh.
amount, is it?
Not involved, and there's a big thing
No.
about it, so it won't even happen. I'll see if Jane can meet. On Monday, and
I mean, I would go down, but I've got to have payroll in by 10.
I have SCOA on
And
Monday.
I don't think, he just wants to poke his head up there and see, that's all.
Well, hopefully Jane can meet him down there.
And then, as soon as that's done, then Brian's got to come back anyway to be doing some work, so he
What
doesn't
is
have to
he
make two
supposed to
trips.
report back to us if
Tim?
Jane goes there? Oh, he's meeting Tim.
No, no one's meeting Tim. Just
Who's
Tim
going to
is-
be there Monday at 9?
Tim.
Okay,
Just to
so we
look.
just need to open up the door for him.
Right.
Yes, but the door would be open at 9. Aren't they open by then?
Why did you want me to meet him? Just as somebody,
Just someone from,
the
someone from the
selectmen's-
town or selectmen, because you'd met with him once already, but you
Right.
don't have to, I'm sure. I can just email Sarah and let her know that he's going to be there to pop his head up.
Yep.
I would really not want that to happen. I'm telling you, it's getting to be very difficult up there.
I would.
Well, what would you, I'll go down with
Because
him. He's not going to be here
There's
that long.
no definitive line in
Is the,
her role as the director, in her role as running the building.
okay,
And it has to have a line there, because people are just going to walk away in disgust and frustration because everything's going everywhere.
let me ask you this.
It's a problem right now.
Let me ask you this. Is the senior center open at 9 o'clock? And then why don't I meet him there? I'm a selectman. I'll walk in with him. He can stick his head up there. And if he has any questions, I'll write them down, and you can call him when you get back from what you're doing, okay?
He would just report back to Joyce, not me.
Yes. I'll just tell him if he has any questions that,
Right.
I can either write them down or,
Right.
call Joyce when we're done here, and,
Right.
she will answer your questions.
If he met with Dennis and I, it's just that
Yeah.
Monday afternoon I could go, but Monday morning I can't. I have to
So,
be
I'll
in
go Monday.
Concord
Let
at
me
10.
write it down.
Well, I guess my thought was it should be a town person that's there talking with him, directing him,
Right.
interacting with him, not...
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
And I can do that. I understand, I've listened in on the conversation, I know basically what you're gonna do, it's gonna get closed up but not finished so that it can be watched.
And we're trying to do another project there, and it's getting very confusing on to who's what,
Yep.
where, and this afternoon it took an entirely different direction
Oh,
because someone got involved and didn't understand that everybody else had their job and their responsibilities on what
hope
they
that
were going
wasn't
to do.
me. I'm just doing the insurance claim.
Wasn't. No,
That's
it
all
wasn't.
my interest is.
But it was somebody that didn't have anything to do with it.
Okay. All right, and
Insurance, and his name is Tim
Crowley.
Crowley.
Crowley. Okay, I will meet him.
The board had requested estimates on repairing the masonry for budgetary purposes. So we had 3 individuals, Baker Brick Block. I had Jared Rounds from Tier 1 Construction. That was a referral from a member of our budget committee who's in building facilities maintenance and has worked with this person. And then the third one, I don't know who had spoken, I think it was Catherine, but I called him, and then I had contacted a fourth one,
What was the third one? Who was it?
Mike Bolduc.
Oh, I did. I talked
You
with
did
him.
that, okay, that was you? That was Pat. And then Catherine had given me the name of the person that was doing the work for Tuscan Hill Properties on their brick, who is related to someone we know, and I called him, he didn't call me back, and I called the relation to say, can you give, I'm trying to get in touch with this person, have not heard back from that person, so that would have been 4. Mike Bolduc, he said he's interested in putting together a proposal, has ideas about it. The problem is right now that he is just buried with regular work, and as soon as he can, he'll put together an estimate. I said, well, it's for budgetary purposes right now, so we can plan. I said, we can wait a little while. That's okay, I said that.
Who's
He's up
Mike
on
Bolduc?
Kirk and Heather's roof right now.
Yeah. And, I understand, these guys are working, and, to take time out to put together an estimate that may or may not ever be used,
Right.
they'll do it. But
That's how
it's-
they get business, but I understand.
Okay, and I told him, I said, I fully
Spending 10 hours a
understand.
day on a scaffold, it's hard to come home and...
He's local.
Yeah.
He's Northfield.
Yeah. And so how do you want me to, I should present all this when Catherine's here. So what I'll do is write up a little summary and scan and email it to
Were they
everybody.
reasonable?
Well, this was the low one. This was just to seal it. And this one I just received, which is a little more
A little more?
That's just to seal it.
That one took her breath away.
like about the second.
Oh, yeah. That really took mine. You better get your inhaler out when you're ready to read this one.
Well, this one it seems high, but,
That one seems
This one seems high?
Oh, wait.
just a slap.
Get your inhaler ready, you're on the page.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, well, this one includes repointing. What? What? Who in hell is this?
This is with,
Oh, my God.
this is just coating it, not repointing it. But did he give you one for repointing?
He said he would not recommend repointing.
Oh.
And would not, he has no recommendation about reworking all the gutters and...
Could we not put a whole new wall on the town hall, just putting a whole new second wall on there for $85,000? Couldn't we? I bet we could.
I bet you it wouldn't cost 85 grand to put up a brick wall in front of the brick wall.
That's what I'm
That's
just
what she
saying.
just said.
That's what I was just saying. It
Of
wouldn't
course, there's
cost that.
still scaffolding and whatever that has to be done, but
So,
85 grand, 85 grand, 85 grand. Did I tell you how much it was? 85 grand.
That'd have to be a warrant article. Jeez.
No, that would have to be
well, I think there's
insanity.
probably good information
I
in
think
there.
that we need
Oh, yeah.
to, it's very good information in
And
there.
you
I
could
think
do a hard,
for a,
request for quotation.
exactly. But I think that we should wait for Mike Bolduc's.
I agree. And if I can still hear from this other person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that in the past, we had Brian look at it, and I'll have to see if he actually wrote anything up, but I don't think Brian was interested.
For 85 grand, I'll bet he is.
Who? Huckins. Because he had priced the cost of scaffolding, and I think that's when he said, nah, he wasn't interested.
Does he do repointing?
He would oversee someone doing the repointing,
Oh,
but he would pull together the job.
Oh,
He said
okay.
the difficulty for him was trying to figure out how to get scaffolding in there, and he'd spent quite a bit of time. He found a company that you'd have to erect it, but
Yeah. Then you'd have to have really skinny people working on it.
17 to 20 inches. That's like front to back, and you'd be standing there going like this.
Well, the other thing is to go up on the roof and put a roof that would join the two buildings together so that nothing could get down there. Yeah.
At least that would stop further damage.
Right.
And I'll bet the guy next door might go for that.
Seal it off at the top to where it becomes, a solid wall up there to where no water can run down.
Rip from Corderi Associates would like to come up and give the board a kind of little follow-up where we are and what's
Okay.
happening, so
Love to know.
do you want to give me
Yeah.
a couple Thursday dates, and did you want it like
Not
late
next week.
afternoon?
I'm-
Oh, no, I'm thinking 2 weeks, at least
I'm-
2 weeks out.
I'm thinking of not coming next week if things work out.
And I'd also like to invite the Conservation Commission and the
Oh,
Trails
they should
people.
be here, too.
So let's
Yeah.
give, I cross that out.
So if it could be before the end of the workday, I'm just
So
trying to think.
let's do the 14th or the 21st that we can give him.
Okay.
Are we doing,
It's the 21st. When's Thanksgiving?
the 28th?
28.
Are we meeting on the 27th in lieu of the 28th, or are we just skipping a week? Are we skipping a,
Should probably look at the load.
I had talked with Al about this, and I think what we did last year is that Thanksgiving week,
Yeah.
that the board just came in, signed
Signed the
payroll,
papers,
right.
and if Tim could have some accounts payable together.
does everybody have the day after Thanksgiving off?
We use that as our floating holiday.
Is that, so the town office is closed?
Yep. So, why don't we just do that? We'll just come in and sign paperwork, whatever we
All
gotta
right, so
sign. and-
give them the date of the 21st and the 14th.
Yeah.
Okay. And 4 o'clock, try around that time, 3:30, 4, 4:30? It's
Yeah.
going to be dark at,
3:34, one of
Yeah.
them.
okay. And then Tim had given you the rates, the health rates. Next Tuesday, we're meeting with Scott DeRoche. If we are going to make any changes in plans, we have to that decision has to be made and transmitted to Health Trust no later than November 29th.
Okay.
I would also like to see some numbers as to, we didn't see we saw the total amount.
So you can see what,
We didn't see
Right.
the groups. I'd like to see that, and also, I would also ask you for several scenarios
right.
of contributions by the employees, whether it be 12%, 14%,
This is for non-union.
non-union.
Yep.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, we've got that all set up now that we can, Tim and I can plug in the numbers.
Okay.
Okay, I'd like that, if we could have that
I mean, you
Tuesday.
can do it in increments of 0.5% if you wanted.
We thought, as a board, that consensus was that we would work a little bit after Scott left on the health and so on that portion of the budget,
Okay,
while it was fresh in our minds.
yes. But at least you now, he gave you updated budget reports that have what it would cost if there were no change,
Right.
Yeah,
and with our current census.
right.
Right.
So that's your starting point.
Yep.
Okay, there was no change in the dental, so that's good. Also, the Health Trust, they will be doing a return of surplus for 2012. And we will see this in March of 2014. And for all of our groups, our retirees, our union, non-union, and elected officials, the total is $18,071 for medical and $975 for dental. In the past, these, what they would call surplus,
Right.
they would take that money group-wide and they would return it based on, that they would do it in reduced rates.
Right.
But because of the Bureau of Securities and Regulation, they can't do that anymore.
Right.
That's why you're getting, so whatever surplus they do have, they have to return it as soon as they get their audited financial statements.
Right.
So, just to let you know. And then,
So that goes back to the individual.
well, the town, and then if the
Yeah.
employee pays a portion, they get their share of it too.
Right.
So that's
So
what this,
we'll get some, they'll get some.
yes. The total amount that the town received in 2013 was $85,000.
And then we dispersed how much?
$85,000.
We dispersed all the money, don't we pay part of that premium?
Yeah, well, the town kept the bulk of it, because the town pays...
Okay, how much did we give?
Oh,
the
to break
employee?
that down?
How
Oh.
much did we disperse?
Okay. Of that, I would have to do the calculation, because,
Half-ish?
non-union, the town pays 90%,
Oh, well, there you go, okay.
and union, the town pays right now 88.5%. So you'd have to do the math.
Okay, so...
Oh, no, the town received the bulk. Retirees got 100%, because that doesn't even run through our books.
Yep.
In fact, I wrote a very nice explanation and gave it to Tim to slip it in our audit file, because when we get our 2013 audited, they're going to go.
What's that?
And I'd be more than happy to forward a copy of that to all of you, in case anything happens to me.
What, tonight while you're trick-or-treating?
No, so you'll know, how did you figure that out? So, yeah, so that's good. And then the only change that I would recommend to the board is that we no longer offer the Blue Choice 3-tier. Because if there are any physicians or medical providers that would be covered under the 3-tier, if the individual can just get a referral from their primary care, they pay less.
Oh,
So,
instead of being able to just go wherever you want him?
So they pay less, we pay less.
right.
Right.
I'm
So,
all for that.
Right, and we already offer 2 other Matthew Thornton products, so we're set there. And then I was going, when Scott comes and talks with you next week, just so you can get an idea of what they're doing, what their plans are there any other affordable plans that they'll be offering? Because if you are going to offer another plan, as I said, we'd need to make that decision by the 29th, before the
I have
29th.
questions for Scott about how the Affordable Care Act
Yep,
impacts this, and
Yep.
the potential like toward buyouts or whatever.
yep. And then on the as you recall, back when the local government center was one entity, and that's no longer, there's two distinct, well, actually three, counting the New Hampshire Municipal Association. We used to get discounts for our property liability and our workers' comp because we had all three
Together,
insurances.
but now they're not together.
They're not together, and they haven't made a decision about that yet.
Okay, I asked him that, and he said they haven't made a decision, but check with Joyce.
Right, and the last update I had from Scott was that, that the property liability rate letters are being mailed. Hopefully, they will arrive quickly, and then if I want to speak, he told me who to speak to directly now to get that information.
Okay.
So that, we can get that information on Tuesday. And I think those are the only pieces that we were waiting for. And then the sooner we can at least have this conversation with Scott, because I have to send out open enrollment notices.
Right.
So employees need to know what they can enroll for. And I think that's the rate information. You told me about dates for that, and I'm done.
Joyce, are we supposed to be signing this?
No, that's information.
Okay. All right.
Oh, that's something you may want to discuss under,
Oh, yes.
you were going to bring that up, right? Okay. Is that gonna be-
Explanation of how that works.
Could I make a suggestion, though, since we don't have a full board?
Yeah.
Why don't we
Save it.
do that? If we save that, and then I can...
What?
I can go get the,
What?
it has to do with compensation.
Okay. We
I
have,
can have all the information.
we have a letter from an employee that would like the paid time off balance request carried over to be used up in early January
Without precedent?
2014.
Precedent.
I remember the conversation in the last 2 years about this. No.
So, okay. My answer's no.
I told you I'd never do it again. I won't.
I told you I would
I'll
never
never
do it.
Good, good.
I told you I would never do it again. So there, Joe.
Bravo.
The answer's
I've never
no.
done it.
Do you want to write
Right, I know you
denied
haven't.
and sign it? So I can return it?
Oh, he hasn't signed any of that stuff, has he? You need to push that on down.
He doesn't sign payroll.
Oh,
No, I don't sign.
what
that.
about the blue envelope? Is there things in there that need to be signed?
No, that one says, sign me is the receipt where the officer delivered the notice,
Right,
because I looked.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's the,
right.
okay.
And we made a motion to that effect. So that's all taken care of. All right, we have, all right, under, senior centers getting their hood.
Have they gotten the fan?
Yes.
Outstanding.
They got the fan. It's, Brian is working on putting the fan in tomorrow, along with the electrician that's wiring for that. And then next week, I don't know their last names, I'm sorry, but Mark and Chris is going to fabricate the part of the hood that needs to go up into the fan, and then they will install the fan. And also from All Metal Company, Jane called to see how much a sheet of stainless steel would be.
Backsplash?
Yep, backsplash, and it was over $400, and she asked if they had a nonprofit discount, and she told them what it was for, and they said, we'll donate it.
Wow.
Thank you for
Thank you,
all metal. All metal, that's really special. So that's going to be done, and that's huge to our senior center, because that opens up now meals on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, where other senior centers are cutting, and it's really important to us. So that's going to get done. I mean, we waiting for a year for this. So thank you to that. Mr. Canzano was extremely instrumental in getting this expedited, and also, he went down to Massachusetts and got the fan and paid for it and donated it to us.
Wow.
So thank you, Nick Canzano.
Mr. Canzano is a heck of a guy for
Yep.
doing this.
The other thing is Tilton School is doing the seniors raking in last week, this week, and next week. So thank you to the Tilton School for helping out with the seniors raking.
Well, they don't have to come up on Clark Road. We're taking care of our neighbors, so,
Okay.
yeah.
And then Winnisquam, I believe, and I don't have confirmation yet, because we're talking to them, they're doing some at Jensen's. So thank you for Winnisquam School on that.
The Tilton School?
The Winnisquam School is doing,
Winnisquam Regional?
is doing the west side, and Tilton School does primarily the ones that they can walk to, or a group they
Right
can
down
take a
here,
truck
School
to.
Street,
Right.
whatever.
Right, they do a couple on Califf that they can just drive to quickly and do it. But they've done it for a few years now. They do Rhodas and these two over here, which is very helpful. Other than that, we talked about the Prospect Street already, so we're going
Yeah.
to do that tomorrow in the afternoon sometime.
And just know I'll come over as soon as I'm done here. Oh,
Negotiations start next week. You're going to meet with Peter ahead of time, and Ryan's going to be with us that day, right? Okay. Don't think that we should go over the MetroCast, because we don't have a full board. Are
right.
you okay with that?
Yes.
Because I have some questions
We
on
still
it.
have 8 weeks.
All right.
Well, I know, but we want to get to
We
it.
want to get it done, because we have questions.
I have the meeting on the 5th, which I might have
More
new
information?
information, yeah,
Good.
Okay.
So you might have more answers to the questions we're going to ask.
potentially.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have anything for us?
Only the fact that the mitigation plan committee's meeting tomorrow here at the town hall, and hopefully we'll be finishing that up pretty quick and bringing our plan up to date with the current town standards. So, and I did send you on the other plan that I was going to on taking Route 3 and making it a little better, and I've sent you the final draft. If you have issues with it, there's instructions right there. He just needs to know by next week sometime. So just send your thoughts or opinions or whatever you find, if you find something, directly to him, and he'll make sure it gets adjusted. That's it.
Joyce, how are we doing with the sellers? Did you send him a note?
Oh, she
Yes, I
talked
did.
about it.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right. That's okay, as long as one went out, that's fine.
I read it.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I'll get it tomorrow. Okay, Joe?
I have nothing substantial.
Well, okay.
We pretty much discussed what I want to discuss, except for most of the stuff I want to discuss. I think a full board is,
Okay.
I have no real, updates or whatever.
Okay.
Wow.
So I would like to, we have one last-minute non-public requested by the chief, but before we go into non-public, I want to thank the chief for stepping up and getting the prizes for our Halloween Merchants Night. That was awesome. They were awesome, awesome prizes. Wonderful. We already thanked the companies that gave them, but personally, I really want to thank you for coming across for those awesome prizes and being there. I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
certificate from the Speedway in my car to give to them.
Okay,
Just presented at the
at that thing, okay.
An e-ticket sort of thing? Yeah.
Wonderful.
We're going to do the minutes?
Want to do the minutes? Approval of the minutes?
Sure. I'd like to bring the minutes of October 17th, 2013 forward for discussion.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye. Just the way I read it.
Yep.
So Chief, there's something here I'd like an answer to, I haven't heard. Detective Buffington, polygraph, bring him out to other people, did you hear anything about that?
If we can, I mean, we certainly have the ability to, would have to come up with a fee structure. Everything he's done so far has been for the agencies around here, you know, kind of
Mutual aid.
mutual aid stuff, but it's certainly something we could explore.
I got the feeling our detectives are working pretty hard now. Using it as a revenue source outside of mutual aid doesn't seem to make sense, really, to me.
Yeah, I don't know if the revenue would offset the
If he was
loss.
just hanging out, that would be one thing, but I got the feeling that Detective Buffington doesn't do a lot of hanging out. At least I like to think so.
The eradication issue, I don't know. In the school, when we were talking to him.
The mole eradication.
That's right, okay. Maybe we should put mold in there. On page 4, the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth paragraph down where it starts, Chairman Constantino asked what the overall expense was for the, put mold in there so they know what the eradication, just put mold. Thank you.
Sandy, I wasn't at this meeting, but is that supposed to be community or committee? Very first line.
Municipals to create. Should be on the committee. Is this, okay, no, I think that's supposed to be committee. On the top of page 5, where it says municipals to create a, shouldn't that be committee, not community? By which a member of the Board of Health should be on the committee. I think that should be committee. Top of page 5.
I already see that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, this was the fog now. I hope in last week's minutes that the whole paragraph on the sewer commission, that these questions, that these statements get answered. Okay? I just get angry reading them again.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of October 17, 2013 as corrected.
Second? Any more discussion?
Any more? He must have read that last page.
Yep.
Yeah, I was reading the last, I couldn't
Yes.
even get through it. I have to
Yep.
assume it's all spelled correctly.
All those in favor of the amended minutes?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I will make a motion to go into non-public as per RSA 91A:3, personnel.
Second?
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I just say it automatically.
You can sit right there. Doesn't-
Yet again.
You want to have...
And we're back, and I would like to make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session permanently as they regard personnel issues.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second, and it's non-debatable.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
That's all, folks.